What is good, y'all? It is Cody Stoffer here with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and we have an action-packed episode for you today talking about the NAIA Flag Football Nationals here. They were hosted in Kansas City, Missouri this year at the KC Current Practice Facility, the same place that the KCAC tournament recently just took place in. So there's a lot of games to talk about, but before we do that, I'm going to talk about the way that the pools kind of worked here. So there were 4 different pools here, A, B, C, and D. A having 4 teams, B having 4 teams, and then C and D having 3 teams. And everybody played 2 games in pool play to decide what the standings would be heading into the bracket. Now, the tiebreakers were points against, which is a very important detail when we look at how the bracket ends up being constructed. But followed that, it goes points for, and then points differential, which at that point, it's kind of already been settled. But, wins obviously are the primary driver here. And at this Nationals, if you couldn't do that quick math here, we got 14 teams here and an A and B bracket. The A or gold bracket has 8 teams, and that's kind of the big kahuna national championship. And then the B or silver bracket has 6 teams here. So very interesting thing to follow. In the A pool, it was going to be Ottawa, Milligan, Weber, as well as University of St. Mary. In the B pool, it was Kaiser, Baker, William Woods, as well as Kodey in that one. In the C pool, you have Thomas, Kansas Wesleyan, and Midland, because there's only 3 there, so all of those teams would play each other. And in the D pool, you have St. Thomas University, as well as Southwestern College and Warner. So that is kind of the stage for this tournament here. Lots of excitement to come with all of these teams playing each other. Some of them not seeing each other in pool play, but regardless, still building up to an excellent tournament for the NAIA playoffs here. So there were 2 days of pool play. I'm going to go over my games from day 1, and then I'm going to address the day 2 games after Gino gets his day 2 games in. So he'll have his day 1 and then his day 2 kind of back to back, and then mine will be the sandwich pieces on either end. So that will lead us into our very first recap here. The very first recap going to be a short one here. Ottawa, University of St. Mary. We actually weren't able to be at that field. However, Ottawa ran away with this one 63-0. There were some concerns of injuries for Ottawa in this game, but they ended up not coming fully realized, at least as far as missing entire games go. So overall, Ottawa gets off to a very strong start for that 1 seed, up 63-0 against St. Mary. Now, the very next game, we finally get a sneak peek at Sun Conference versus KCAC play here. And it's going to be Thomas versus Midland here. And Midland is going to start with the football, and they're going to be facing a 3rd and 6 before they get a quick pass here to Kobe J, who picks up a first down. However, after a sack by Caitlin Herb of Thomas pushes them back 6 yards and a pass breakup, they're facing 3rd down, and the pass that they have does not get enough yards, and so they will have to punt. Thomas is going to start about 6 yards from midfield here, and Nadia Simpson is going to make a pretty big diving flagpole here to prevent a first down on a quarterback scramble. Now, on their first pass for Thomas, it picks up a first down, but illegal contact from the blocker pushes Thomas back 10 yards, and it's 2nd down. Now, Janae Scott gets the next reception and leaves only about 4 or 5 yards until the first down, and then it's going to be a big-time catch here by Kiana Acole to push them past midfield for the first down marker. And after a penalty on Midland, there's only about 8 yards separating the Nighthawks from the red zone. There's going to be a very deep pass to number 4 here, Destiny Lockett, who makes the catch and pushes them inside of the 5-yard line. And then Nicole punches it in herself on the very next play, and a direct snap to Destiny Lockett gets the PAT, and it is a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. Midland here is unfortunately going to go 3 and out after gaining a first down here, courtesy of Emily Farron, who gets 2 straight receptions to start their drive, but unfortunately that fizzles out. Now, after the last drive that did feature Coleman at quarterback, we have Alexa Wilson at quarterback for Thomas on this drive, hitting her rollouts and very quick passes here, spreading the ball to receivers such as Nikira Brown, as well as Amiri Logan and Zoe Jackson here. And they are just getting down the field with a quickness. But the touchdown reception is going to be by another receiver here, Maddie Hoagland, who reels in the deeper pass here. And after a penalty, they will try a 2-point conversion from closer up, which they will convert and go up 15-0. Now, Midland is going to end up punting from inside of their own 5 on this next drive, thanks to a backwards pass. And now they are running Thomas, that is, a 2-quarterback set with Holly Neer out on the far side. And they have her throw and gain about 8 yards. The 2-quarterback look kind of sputters for a few play, but a penalty in the middle from Midland does give Thomas fresh downs in the red zone. The Nighthawks will eventually capitalize with a Nicole rollout left to Scott to put them up 21-0 after not being able to convert the PAT. Now, Midland here, they're going to get a little bit of action on this drive. They're going to pass to Morgan Kalisic for a first down to start. Now, on second down, Janae Scott is going to get a big-time pass rush here and force an incompletion. And that brings us to third down and long here. And they take a deep shot down the middle that draws a flag and gives them an automatic first down with about 5 yards to pick up until midfield. Now, Angel Ionikayo is going to find Elia Livingston here, who picks up a first down to the Thomas 49-yard line. And that brings us to the 2-minute warning. However, a Herb pass breakup, as well as just very tight coverage courtesy of Giselle Jones, helps force this drive to an end and give Thomas the ball back with 1:38 in the half. Now, Thomas is at their own 7-yard line with 3 timeouts to go here, and they try a jet speed option here, but Livingston makes a good flagpole here, and then she's all over on the next play for Midland, breaking up a pass and just breaking on the ball incredibly well. Wilson will keep left and set up 4th and 4, where they try and draw Midland offsides, and they do, giving Thomas a fresh set of downs with under a minute to go at their own 21, and they use a timeout. Now, Cole gets a nice catch and run getting past midfield, and then there's going to be an even bigger catch by Zoe Jackson here, who gets to the 7-yard line, but she looks a little bit banged up on the play. So we will continue to monitor that as we go along this tournament. But the clock keeps running, and after Nicole short catch sets up 2nd and 6 with 7 seconds to go, Thomas is going to get a quick pass right to 5, who makes the catch and gets out of bounds, giving them just enough time thanks to a very savvy vet play from Kiera Knight. Now, there's going to be a beautiful pass over the middle, but it's going to be dropped, and the halftime score is going to be 21-0 all day Thomas. Now, Midland will respond early in this second half here because there is going to be a pass that is picked off by Midland here. It's going to be Sydney Red on the interception, and she takes it all the way to the house, and the PAT is also good, putting Midland down only 2 scores, 21-7, and Thomas, lots of frustration over there because points against is the number 1 tiebreaker. Remember that. And so with that, now they need other teams to not allow scores throughout this tournament if they want better seeding. Now, after that play, we would not see Coleman for the remainder of this tournament, really. And in her place, Alexa Wilson, the vet, in her stead, I should say, comes in and almost throws a pick, but then bounces back with a pass to Jackson, who's back in the game and healthy and making plays here for a first down. They just chip away at this defense, and that this drive is kind of highlighted by a Janae Scott catch and run that puts them inside the 10-yard line. But then Kiera Knight is going to be the receiver who gets the touchdown from Alexa Wilson to go up 27-7 here. And Midland, they're going to try and bounce back from a very huge loss early, but Dominguez Millsap gets a massive catch and gets all the way into the red zone here, but unfortunately for Midland and for Angel Ioannidis, Maddie Hoagland has different plans for their drive in the red zone and gets a high point interception, giving them the ball inside of their own 5-yard line here. And this will be the drive where Thomas puts this game out of reach, with Alexa Wilson just slowly dotting up her receivers here until eventually Kira Knight gets another diving touchdown catch here that puts this game out of reach. Overall, that is going to leave this final score for Thomas. 41-7 will be the final score as they overcome Midland in pool play. Now we have some familiar teams who will play each other in Baker and William Woods here. And the first-year program here, William Woods, will start with the football, but this Baker defense comes out super clinical. Disney Martinez with a quick flagpole, Zabaleta with another quick flagpole on a dump-off. And so they will be facing 3rd and 1, and a drop by Woods will kill the drive, and they will be forced to punt. Baker will start about 10 yards from midfield and go to one of their primary targets here, Jalen Harris, who gets a pass here and is pulled quickly by Brewstall. Then there's going to be a big flagpole here in return by William Woods here. That is Emma Anderlich here, who sets up 3rd and 1. And there's going to be a fumbling of the snap, and they lose a few, setting up 4th and 6. However, Baker is going to go for it, and they are going to find Kaylee Phillips for a nice catch for a first down, setting up 1st and 11 to the red zone. Lorente is going to be the one getting the ball here, and she's going to take off and is stopped just a few yards shy of the end zone. But 2 incompletions forced by William Woods sets up 3rd and goal. And on this 3rd and goal, it's going to be an illegal forward pass that pushes Baker back. And now it's 4th down because it's a loss of down on that play. But on this 4th down play, it is snapped to Waller, who runs right and then pitches back to Kaylee Phillips and runs all the way across the field to the pylon, scoring the touchdown. The PAT is no good, but Kaylee Phillips, what an electric cross-field play to go up 6-0. Now, not much going on here. 3 and out for William Woods after a drop snap. Put them in a hole early, and they will have to punt. And on the very next drive, Tara Lorente gets the snap, finds Kaylee Phillips deep for a quick score, and that puts them up 12-0 after the PAT is no good. Now, William Woods trying to get something going here for this first quarter, but she takes off and sets up 2nd and 2. And then finally, they pick up a first down with a check down to Maddie Jones, who gets a first. Now, on the very next play here, they're going to find Addie Shalik here for a gain of about 8 yards. But after an incompletion, it is 3rd and 10, and it's going to be a very quick punt after Sanaya Waller gets a big-time flagpole. Now, Kaylee Phillips is going to get the first reception on this drive and pick up a first down after they started on their own 19. But there will be another reception and dance ahead past midfield for Baker here. Lorente then runs through multiple flagpole attempts, and the Wildcats find themselves in the red zone. However, Brewstall makes a clutch sack that otherwise would have been another insane Phillips touchdown. But PI on the very next play pushes Baker deeper in and gives us fresh downs, where Tara Lorente takes advantage and throws a passing touchdown here to Faith Phillips, who gets the catch here, and the PAT handoff to Waller is good. Now, this is kind of the story of this game here. I'm not going to go into too much detail as Baker ends up running away with this game. Lorente also will throw a passing touchdown to Gabriela Zabaleta here and will also connect with her to put them up 26-0 before halftime here. And when they come back in the second half, Mahogany Simmons is going to get a handoff that goes for a score, and a double pass is going to put them up 33-0 here. Just not a lot going on for the first-year program here in their debut. And the final score ends up being Baker 41-0 here. You'll understand after Gino's recap why that makes the Kaiser and Baker game so interesting for the next day of pool play. And for the last game that I'm going to recap just a little bit here, wasn't able to attend this game because of action on other fields, but Warner took care of Southwestern in their pool play 61-0. So that leads to two 1-0 matchups facing off for that D pool kind of representation and undefeated record the very next day.
What is going on, y'all? This is Gino with the Playmaker's Corner podcast, and it is finally that time. After a crazy season full of surprises, we finally have reached our coverage of the NAIA Flag Football National Championship here in 2025. Let me go ahead and set the stage for y'all. We are at the KC Current practice facility in sunny Kansas City, Missouri for the 5th annual NAIA Flag Football National Championships. And let me tell you, this was probably the most eventful national tournament that we have had to date, with some insane controversy, big plays, overtime games, and just some of the best flag football you could possibly ask for. Kodey and I will be guiding you along the way through this chaotic week, so sit back, relax, and brace yourself for what could possibly be the most important episode in this podcast's history. Let's go ahead and start off with our very first matchup of the entire tournament. We got the St. Thomas Bobcats of the Sun Conference facing off against the Southwestern Mound Builders of the KCAC. Let's get into it. It'll be St. Thomas ball to start us off here in the first game. It'll be 1st and 6. On first down, the QB, Brooke Bogats, has all the time in the world, and she fires it over the middle to Leah Cruz for a first down. On 1st and 10, a quick pass left goes to Tashumba Washington, who makes the tough grab for 4 yards there. And then Bogats rolls out right and finds Cameron Campbell, who evades the flagpole for a big-time gain to put them near the red zone. It'll be 1st and 10 here for the St. Thomas Bobcats. On first down, Bogats fires it to Leah Cruz for 9 yards. And then Bogats hits Sydney Brooks, who takes it near the end zone. It'll be 1st and goal at the 1 here for the Bobcats. On first down, Bogats fires a bullet to Tashumba Washington, who makes the diving grab here for the touchdown. Washington caught that ball on top of her head while diving somehow. That was absolutely insane. And then Washington hauls in the extra point as well, so it will now be 7-0 St. Thomas with the lead. It is now 1st and 6 here for Southwestern. On first down, a handoff goes to Viviana Solis, who takes it for a first down. On 1st and 19, a speed option pitch goes to Carla Lopes for 3 yards. And then Kennedy Hayes finds Viviana Solis over the middle. And then Solis pitches that one back to Carla Lopes, but the pitch is overthrown, so it will be 3rd and 14 here. On 3rd and long, the freshman QB, Kennedy Hayes, finds Solis again, but Solis is stopped short of the first down. It will be 4th and 7, and Southwestern will be forced to punt here. It is now 1st and 2 here for St. Thomas after that punt. Bogats rolls out right and launches a bomb down the sideline into the arms of Harmony Harris for a first down across midfield. It is now 1st and 15 here for St. Thomas. Bogats then finds Jada Graham for a first down in the red zone. And then following an incomplete pass, Bogats finds an open Leah Cruz for a big gain to make it 3rd and goal at the 8-yard line as the St. Thomas offense keeps rolling. On 3rd and goal, Brooke Bogats evades a sack, steps up and fires it to Tashumba Washington, and she is open for the touchdown. That is Tashumba's 2nd touchdown of the first quarter, and that will make the score 14-0 after Bogats ran in the extra point. It is now 1st and 6 here for Southwestern. On first down, NAIA Leon shuts down a Kennedy Hayes scramble for only a yard, and then Sharifa Piamonte takes the handoff for 4 yards to make it 3rd and 1. On 3rd and short, Kennedy Hayes floats it deep, and it is easily picked off by the MVP finalist Tashumba Washington, who now has 2 touchdowns and an interception in just the first quarter of the first game of the 2025 NAIA National Tournament. It is now 1st and 10 here for St. Thomas. Bogats scrambles for a few yards to make it 2nd and 5, and then following a drop pass, Bogats fires it to Cameron Campbell over the middle for a first down in the red zone. On 1st and goal at the 15, Bogats finds none other than Tashumba Washington, who makes 2 defenders miss on her way to the end zone for the hat trick here in the first quarter. The extra point is no good, but that gives Tashumba Washington 3 receiving touchdowns and an interception, and we are only in the first quarter. Get out of here with that. It is now 1st and 6 here for the Mound Builders. A flag on St. Thomas on the rush there will make it 1st and 16 for Southwestern. As we head to the end of the first quarter, St. Thomas is up 20-0. Coming out of the first quarter, the Mound Builders would actually end up punting it here with Nandi Ramasar making some big plays here for the St. Thomas defense. St. Thomas would get the ball back, but they would actually end up punting it as well over to Southwestern. But Southwestern would go 3 and out here to bring the ball all the way back to St. Thomas. It is now 1st and 8 here midway through the second quarter after that punt. On first down, Brooke Bogats keeps it right for a big-time first down to make it 1st and 10. On first down, a check down to Sydney Brooks, and she takes that near midfield. Another check down to Brooks gets them the first down across midfield to make it 1st and 17. On 1st and 17, Brooke Bogats launches an absolute bullet deep to Leah Cruz, and she takes it in for the touchdown. The incomplete pass on the extra point makes it 26-0. That will end this recap there, folks. St. Thomas would get a big-time 45-0 win here over Southwestern as they start the tournament off 1-0. Your playmaker of the game here will be Tashumba Washington for just an unbelievable performance in that first half as she led St. Thomas to this big-time win. The Bobcats' next and final pool game will be against Warner tomorrow. That will be Tuesday. And then Southwestern's next pool game will be against Warner as well. And that is later on today on Monday.
Kodey Stoffer here, Playmaker's Corner, Tashumba Washington. You just had a big game to start off this tournament here. I mean, a hat trick of touchdowns in the first quarter. What were you seeing offensively that just allowed those opportunities to happen and to just pour on the points throughout this game?
I would say we have a great blocker. She gave us enough time for the QB to make a decision, move, see how many options she's got on the field. And, yeah, speed kills.
Yes, it does.
Speed kills. So I would say.
And it was happening on the defensive side. Started off with a shutout, which is huge in a tournament where points against is a major factor. What are you going to try and continue to do on the defensive side of the ball throughout pool play to carry out that success?
I will continue to keep my head in the right space, be patient in the back. Sometimes I, fidget a lot, but I'll be patient back there. I trust my rusher a lot. Actually, she give them no time to throw the ball. I believe, yes. I trust my rushers and my blockers. They actually help me on offense and defense, honestly.
Nice. And
yes.
Throughout
Without them, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things I'm doing. It starts off from them to be able to throw the ball. You get what I'm saying? Yes. So if they do a good job down there, it goes how it goes.
And it helped turn out a great season.
Yes.
I mean, you were in our most valuable playmaker conversation, defensive playmaker of the year conversation, DB of the year conversation. I mean, this has just been another special season and a long resume for you. And I guess, what are some things that you're going to continue to try and do to help your team progress and make some noise out here in nationals?
I would say you to be me, be great. I don't worry about anybody else. One play after the other. I don't sit there and get mad. I drop the pick. You see that? I just left it on that play. It continues. If you sit there and dwell on one bad, it can ruin the whole game for everyone. One person mindset can affect the whole team. So I just try to keep pushing myself. I tell everybody else, most of us dropped a few picks. Keep going. It's the next play after the next play. Don't dwell on the pass. It will, mess the game up if we all do that. So I tell everybody, keep a bright head, pray, and we'll be good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And on to the next game. Thank you so much, and we'll be seeing you around.
Thank you.
Next up here in our pool play coverage of the NAIA National Tournament here in 2025, we got Kaiser versus Kodey. So another Sun Conference versus KCAC matchup. Definitely not going to go Kodey's way here, though. Kaiser dominated in this one. I'm going to quickly go through this recap and talk about the final score, and then we'll be moving on to our next game. It is 1st and 6 here for Kaiser to start off here. A quick pass goes to Chloe Griffin for 5 yards, and then the QB, Haley Young, keeps it for a first down. On first down, a quick pass to Kennedy Foster goes for 7 yards, and then Haley Young slings it to Janasia Wilson for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 16, Young rolls out right and finds Ashley Clam for a first down in the red zone. On 1st and goal here at the 12, we got an incomplete pass, and then on 2nd down, a quick pass to Sophia Caprio goes for 4 yards as she was stopped there by Tamaya Squire. On 3rd and goal at the 8, Haley Young heaves it to the back of the end zone, and Ashley Clam leaps up and makes the grab for the touchdown. Alina Jean-Baptiste picked off the extra point there, so it will be 6-0, and it will now be Kodey's ball. Kodey would actually end up going 3 and out here, though, as Emma Wagenman dominated on the rushes there. She is starting off the tournament hot. It is now 1st and 2 near midfield here for Kaiser after the punt. A pitch play is nearly picked off by Tamaya Squire, but it will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. On 2nd and 2, Young has Brenna Ramirez open, and that goes for a first down in the red zone. Following an incomplete pass, it is 2nd and goal at the 17, and Haley Young finds Sophia Caprio, who pitches it back to Ashley Clam to make it 3rd and goal at the 7. On 3rd and goal, Haley Young fires it to Chloe Griffin, who takes advantage of a missed flagpole and sneaks it in for the touchdown. It is now 14-0 after the extra point, still in the first quarter here. On 1st and 6 for Kodey, a handoff to Alyssa Hollis is shut down by Emma Wagenman, plus a flag on Kodey there makes it 1st and 16. On 1st and 16, Emma Wagenman continues to dominate as she gets a sack, and that'll be a safety as well. It is now 16-0. Kaiser is up, and they will now have the ball 1st and 6 with a big chance to go up even more. On 1st and 6, Young heaves it deep down the sideline, and Brenna Ramirez hauls it in for an awesome catch. She made a very cool adjustment there at the last second to make that grab. It is 1st and 17 across midfield here for the Seahawks. Young then keeps it for 4 yards, and then a false start makes it 2nd and 18. On 2nd down, a pass to Janasia Wilson, who takes that near midfield. It'll be 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, Haley Young is on fire as she finds Kennedy Foster in the end zone for the touchdown. Kaiser now leads 22-0 after that extra point was stopped, and we are still in the first quarter. It is now 1st and 6 for Kodey. A swing pass to Laurencia Botts goes for a yard, and then Adriana Cavallati shuts down a pass to Tamaya Squire to make it 3rd and short, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. The Kaiser Seahawks lead Kodey 22-0. Starting us off here in the second quarter, it is 3rd and short for Kodey to start us off here. Tamaya Squire keeps it left for a first down, and that will make it 1st and 18. A check down to 15, who is not on the roster, goes for a yard. And then Emma Wagenman forces an incompletion on the rush. It'll be 3rd and 17 here for Kodey. On 3rd down, Tamaya Squire takes her time and eventually hits 15 along the sideline for a nice gain there. It'll be 4th and 6, and the Comets are going for it. But unfortunately, they would drop the snap, so they wouldn't even get a try and get that first down. It'll be 1st and 7 for Kaiser near the red zone. Haley Young keeps it for 6 yards, and then after an incomplete pass, Young fires it to Chloe Griffin for a first down in the red zone to put them near the goal line. It is 1st and goal at the 2 here for the Seahawks. And then we have a touchdown pass to Sophia Caprio, and then Chloe Griffin hauls in the extra point. It is now 29-0, and we will cut off this recap there. No need to say the final score, but Kaiser definitely wins big here over Kodey, and most importantly, they gave up 0 points. Your playmaker of the game will be Haley Young. Kaiser's next game is a big one against Baker tomorrow on Tuesday, and then Kodey's next game will be against William Woods on Tuesday as well. Next up here, folks, still on Monday, we got the final game that I got to witness, and this was definitely the best game of the day so far. We got the Milligan Buffaloes facing off against the Weber Warriors. These are 2 squads that we definitely had an eye on when they got put in the same pool going into this tournament. And this was a game that I felt could go either way, honestly, with Weber's experience versus Milligan's high-powered offense. This was definitely one that was going to have a lot of excitement. But let's not waste any more time and jump right into this one here. It is 1st and 6 for Milligan here in the first quarter. A pass to Sarah Rancorn on the post is just out of reach. But hang on, Bridget Kaiser finds Caitlin Quinn for a first down on the next play to make it 1st and 10. On 1st down, Kaiser to Caitlin Quinn again goes for 6 yards, and then a check down to Lexi Kyle gets them the first down across midfield. On 1st and 20, Bethany Stevens shuts down a check down after 2 yards, and on 2nd down, a quick pass to Krista Quinn as Quinn takes that for a 14-yard gain to put them near midfield. On 3rd and 4, a quick pass to Ashton Weirley is stopped short of the first down. It'll be 4th and 1, and of course Milligan is going to go for it here. On 4th down, Krista Quinn makes a toe touch grab for a first down at the 14-yard line. Great job there from the freshman. Samantha Wilson breaks up a pass over the middle. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 14. On 2nd down, Kaiser fires a pass to Sam Urso, and that'll go for 7 yards. On 3rd and goal at the 7, Kalia Gator gets her first sack of the game. Yes, that is foreshadowing to make it 4th and goal at the 13. Milligan is, of course, going to go for it here as Bridget Kaiser takes the snap. She heaves it to the end zone, and Caitlin Sigmundi picks off the pass in the end zone, and that is her first of the national tournament. And yes, that is also foreshadowing. It'll be 1st and 6 here for the Weber Warriors after that big-time pick by Sigmundi. On 1st and 6, Tatiana Buno picks off the pass in the flats, and she dives into the end zone for a pick 6. The extra point is dropped, and it'll be 6-0 here, Milligan up. Buno had a pick 6 the last time we got to see Milligan play as well, as she is starting to establish herself as one of the more versatile defenders and rushers in the entire NAIA flag football scene. But it is now 1st and 6 here for Weber after that big-time pick 6 by Buno. A quick pass to Caitlin Sigmundi goes for 3 yards, and then the QB, Samantha Wilson, fires it to Cheyenne Durand for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 15, a quick pass to Ziona Shingles goes for 3 yards, and then a check down for 6 yards makes it 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, holding on Milligan will give Weber the free first down to make it 1st and 16. Following an incomplete pass, a pass to Ziona Shingles, and she pitches it back to Emma Balaco to make it 3rd and 12. Following incomplete pass, Weber is going to go for it here on 4th and 12, and Samantha Wilson is going deep, but Blakely Allis picks it off, and that will give Milligan the ball back right before the end of the first quarter. It is now 1st and 13 here for the Buffaloes after that interception. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Milligan leads Weber 6-0. It is 1st and 13 here for the Buffaloes to start us off here in the second quarter. A quick pass to Krista Quinn goes for 5 yards, and then Sarah Rancorn makes a leaping grab here for another 5 yards to make it 3rd and 3. On 3rd down here for Milligan, Bridget Kaiser finds Sarah Rancorn again, and that will get them the first down across midfield just barely. On 1st and 20, pass interference on Weber there will make it 1st and 14. A short pass goes to Krista Quinn for 5 yards, and then on the next play, Kaiser finds a crossing Ashton Weirley for a first down and 18 in the red zone. Following a drop pass, Kaiser goes to Weirley again over the middle for a big gain to make it 3rd and 4 near the red zone. On 3rd and 4, Bridget Kaiser takes the snap, and she fires it to Sarah Rancorn over the middle for the touchdown. What a beautiful pass there from Kaiser, and that will give Milligan a 13-0 lead following the extra point early on here in the first half. It is now 1st and 6 for Weber, down 2 scores. We have an incomplete pass on 1st down, and then a check down to the center, Bria Cam, gets them the first down. On 1st and 6, Samantha Wilson fires a short crosser to Ziona Shingles for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 15, we have an incomplete pass, followed by a couple more incomplete passes, and on 4th and 15, Weber is going to go for it here, but they are going to go ahead and call timeout to discuss what play they want to use. Coming out of the timeout, Samantha Wilson's pass is incomplete as it hits the turf, and that'll be a turnover on downs. Milligan now has a chance to go up 3 scores here. It is now 1st and 6 for Milligan near midfield. Emma Balaco tracks down Bridget Kaiser on the scramble, but a flag on Milligan there will make it 1st and 15. Kalia Gator gets her 2nd sack of the game, and that'll make it 2nd and 21, but Kaiser hits Caitlin Quinn on a bullet pass to get some of those yards back over the middle to make it 3rd and 9. On 3rd down, an incomplete pass is well covered there by Igiana Edwards to make it 4th and 9, and Milligan will be forced to punt it here with 2 minutes left. It is 1st and 1 for Weber. A check down to Cheyenne Durand gets them the first down to make it 1st and 12. The first down pass goes to the freshman Ziona Shingles, and Shingles pitches it back to Sigmundi as she runs by, and Sigmundi goes untouched down the sideline for the touchdown, and that puts the Weber Warriors right back in this game. That is a big-time heads-up play there by Shingles and Sigmundi. And then talking to Coach Molesky after the game, it sounded like this pitch play wasn't by design, and he says that plays like that are a huge reason why teams like Weber are consistently practicing being in position for a pitch no matter what. But let's go ahead and head right back to the game here. The extra point is no good, so Milligan now leads Weber 13-6 late here in the first half. It is now 1st and 6 for Milligan. Bridget Kaiser finds Caitlin Quinn for a first down, and then following a couple of incomplete passes, it is 3rd and 17 here for Milligan. On 3rd down, Kaiser hits Sarah Rancorn over the middle, and she gets them the first down. Rancorn always coming in clutch there. She makes it 1st and 19. A check down goes for 6 yards as Milligan calls timeout here. Coming out of the timeout, it is 2nd and 13, and Bridget Kaiser finds Sarah Rancorn again for a first down on the post to make it 1st and 13 in the red zone. Kalia Gator gets her 3rd sack of the half, though, on the next play to make it 2nd and 19 to try and take away some of that momentum. And then following an incomplete pass, it is 3rd and 19 as Bridget Kaiser takes the snap. She fires it over the middle and drops a dime to Krista Quinn for the last second touchdown. And that gives Milligan their 2-score lead back to make it 19-6 with only 16 seconds left. The extra point was no good, so that will be our score going into halftime, folks. Milligan is definitely in control here in the first half with a 19-6 lead here over the Weber Warriors. Now, this was a very exciting second half, folks, so let's go ahead and jump right into it here. It is 1st and 6 for Weber to start us off here. Samantha Wilson finds Igiana Edwards for a first down to make it 1st and 17. Wilson then fires it to Edwards again for another nice gain to make it 2nd and 7, and Milligan will be calling timeout. Coming out of the timeout, Samantha Wilson goes to the center, Bria Cam over the middle to make it 3rd and 1. And then a quick hitter on 3rd and short to Cheyenne Durant gets them the first down across midfield. On 1st and 16, Wilson's keeper goes for 8 yards, and then Jessica Hudson gets a sack on the next play to make it 3rd and 9. Hudson then bats down a pass on the next rush. Milligan is so deadly with their ability to send in different players like Hudson to rush the QB effectively in big games like this one. That makes it 4th and 9, and Weber is going to go for it. On 4th and 9, Wilson scrambles, and she pitches it back to Emma Balacco for a huge first down to make it 1st and 4. An incomplete pass makes it 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line. On 2nd down, Wilson's scramble is stopped an inch short of the goal line, and it will be 3rd and goal at the 1-inch mark here for Weber. On 3rd down, Samantha Wilson hits Ziona Shingles for the touchdown, and then Wilson keeps the extra point. It is now 19-13. Weber is right back in this one. Ziona Shingles is making a huge impact here for the Warriors in her first career game at the national tournament. You love to see it. It is now 1st and 6 here for Milligan following that score. Bridget Kaiser fires it to Krista Quinn open, and she goes up the sideline for a first down to make it 1st and 9, somewhat near midfield. Kaiser then keeps it for 8 yards to make it 2nd and 1. On 2nd and 1 near midfield, Kalia Gator steps up and gets her 4th sack of the game. That makes it 3rd and 5. On 3rd and 5, Caitlin Sigmundi breaks up a pass. That'll make it 4th and 5. And Milligan will be forced to punt it here as Kalia Gator and Caitlin Sigmundi are stepping up big time here on defense for the Warriors. It is now 1st and 1 for Weber. Wilson goes to Sigmundi, who pitches it to Emma Balacco for a first down to make it 1st and 7. And then following a few incomplete passes, it is now 4th and 7, and that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. Milligan leads Weber 19-13. Starting us off here in the final quarter of this game, Weber would actually end up punting it here back to Milligan. It'll be 1st and 1 for the Buffaloes following the punt. A couple of passes makes it 1st and 6 here near midfield, and then a pass from Kaiser goes for 5 yards to make it 2nd and 1. They get the first down on the next play, so that'll make it 1st and 19. Igiana Edwards breaks up a pass on the next play, so on 2nd and 19, a pass is completed to Caitlin Quinn for a nice gain. After an incomplete pass, it is 4th and 7, and Milligan is going to go for it here as Bridget Kaiser takes the snap, and she finds Caitlin Quinn open for a first down to make it 1st and goal at the 16-yard line. On first down, a pass to Caitlin Quinn again, who takes advantage of a missed flag pull to make it 2nd and 4 near the end zone. But Kalia Gator steps in and says, not so fast. She gets her 5th sack of the game to make it 3rd and 8 here for Milligan. Milligan then goes to Krista Quinn for 4 yards, so that will make it 4th and 4. On 4th down, Bridget Kaiser takes the snap, and her pass to the end zone is picked off by Caitlin Sigmundi for her 2nd of the game, and that gives Weber a chance to try and win this one. Sigmundi and Gator just continue to step up play after play on defense to keep Weber alive. It is now 1st and 6 for Weber after that huge interception by Sigmundi. A pass to Bria Cam gets them the 1st down to make it 1st and 19. And then Tatiana Buno gets there on the sack and bats down a pass to make it 2nd and 19. On 2nd and long, Buno's not done as she bats down another pass. She clearly wants this win so badly that it is now 3rd and 19 here for Weber. On 3rd and long, Wilson finds Cheyenne Durand, who goes up the sideline for a nice gain. It'll be 4th and 9 as Weber has to go for it here. They need a 1st down to stay in this one as Wilson takes the snap, she surveys, and she keeps it for a huge 1st down across midfield. It is now 1st and 18 here for the Warriors. On 1st down, Wilson finds Cheyenne Durand on the short crosser for 2 yards, and then an incomplete pass will make it 3rd and 16, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Coming out of the 2-minute warning on 3rd and 16, Wilson keeps it again for a nice gain to put the Warriors right near the red zone. Wilson's ability to look off defenders and create plays when no one is open is one of the reasons why she is one of the best NAIA QBs of all time. Weber will call timeout here on 4th and short to decide what they're going to do here to get that 1st down. Coming out of the timeout, Wilson takes the snap and she fires it to Caitlin Sigmundi for the 1st down. It is now 1st and goal at the 19. On 1st and goal, Weber wastes no time as Wilson surveys and has Cheyenne Durand open over the middle for the touchdown. That ties this one up at 19. Durand cooked her defender to get wide open over the middle there. And then Cheyenne Durand makes the grab over the middle and barely gets in as Weber now takes the lead on the extra point, 20-19. They come back down from 2 scores. Milligan still has a chance, though. It is now 1st and 6 here for the Buffaloes. On 1st and 6, Sarah Rancorn makes a very tough grab for a 1st down to make it 1st and 10. And then I missed a play, so it'll be 1st and 19 across midfield here. On 1st and 19, Kaiser finds Caitlin Quinn, plus a hold on Weber, makes it 1st and 2 near the red zone for Milligan as they have yet another chance to try and win this game. On 1st and 2, Kaiser finds Sarah Rancorn, and that will be a 1st down in the red zone at the 15-yard line. Cheyenne Durand shuts down a quick pass, so it will be 2nd and 8. And then an incomplete pass is knocked away by Ziona Shingles to make it 3rd and 8 here in the red zone for Milligan. Kaiser takes the snap, but the pass again hits the turf. It is 4th and 8, and this will be Milligan's last chance to try and win this game and to try and get to the gold bracket. On 4th and 8, Bridget Kaiser surveys. She throws it to the end zone, and the pass once again hits the turf. Weber completes the comeback as they win this one 20-19. And like I told Coach Molesky and the rest of that Weber squad, that is the definition of a team win. When you have freshmen like Ziona Shingles and Gator stepping up to make huge plays on both sides of the ball, and then you have veterans like Samantha Wilson, Caitlin Sigmundi, Cheyenne Durand stepping up down the stretch and never thinking that they were going to lose. It's mindsets like that that makes teams like Weber always consistently winners. Your playmaker of the game in this one is going to go to the freshman rusher, Kalia Gator. She had 5 huge sacks and shut down 2 Milligan red zone drives in this comeback win here for Weber. And that was a huge win because Milligan is going to have to move on to face Ottawa, so it's going to be very tough to try and get into the gold bracket now. Whereas Weber, they don't have to play Ottawa. They needed this win to get into the gold bracket. They face St. Mary in this next one, so that is a huge win there for Weber. Alrighty, folks, we are now moving on to the next day of pool play games here on Tuesday, May 6th. Our first matchup, we're going to go ahead and start off hot here. And I will say, folks, this is where things get absolutely crazy. In our first game here that I'm going to cover for you guys on Tuesday, we have Kansas Wesleyan versus Midland. So that is two very familiar foes in the KCAC, with those teams already facing multiple times this season, with all of those games ending in a close score. With that background information out of the way, let's go ahead and start off the recap in this one. It'll be Midland ball, 1st and 6. The QB, Angel Iwane Kayo, hits Mayana Sigers in stride for a first down to make it 1st and 16. And then a quick pass right goes to Jocelyn Lopez, but she is stopped by Aaliyah Oliver to make it 2nd and 10. On 2nd down, Kayo steps up and goes to Morgan Kalisic to put the Warriors near midfield. On 3rd and 3 here, Kayo finds Olivia Dominguez-Millsop on a curl route for a first down there, plus a hold on Kansas Wesleyan. Makes it 1st and 5 near the red zone here for Midland. Kayo finds Emily Farron open for a first down in the red zone. It'll be 1st and goal at the 11. And the Warriors waste no time here as Ioane Kayo fires it to Morgan Kalisic on the quick out for a touchdown. It is now 6-0 early in the first quarter, and Midland would end up getting that extra point. So it is now 7-0, the Warriors lead. It is now 1st and 6 here for Kansas Wesleyan following that score. The QB, Chihiro Awada, fires a bullet to Soraya Tafua, and Tafua takes advantage of some missed flag pulls there to get them the first down. On 1st and 8, Awada finds Angel Roman over the middle for 5 yards, and then after an incomplete pass, it'll be 3rd and 3 for the Coyotes. Awada goes to the center, Ava Durr over the middle for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 13, a quick pass to Jasmine Whitfield, but she is stopped by Jocelyn Lopez on a diving flagpole there to make it 2nd and 8. Pass interference on Midland there on the next play will make it 1st and goal at the 18 here for Kansas Wesleyan. A quick pass right goes to Jasmine Whitfield for 4 yards, and then a quick pass again to Whitfield is stopped by Jocelyn Lopez to make it 3rd and goal at the 8. A pass to Angel Roman in the back of the end zone is overthrown, so it'll be 4th and goal at the 8-yard line, and Kansas Wesleyan is of course going to go for it here. On 4th and goal, Awada's pass to the end zone is broken up by Alea Livingston in the end zone. That pass was intended for Jasmine Whitfield, so that will be a huge turnover on down for the Midland defense. It is 1st and 12 here for the Warriors. After a couple of incomplete passes, it is now 3rd and 12, and Iwane Kayo hits Alea Livingston on a post, and Livingston goes a long way down the sideline, but a flag on Midland brings that one all the way back. It'll be 1st and 18 here for the Warriors as they call timeout. A deep ball here is intended for Olivia Dominguez-Millsop, but it is overthrown, and then Soraya Tafua shuts down a quick pass to make it 3rd and 16. On 3rd and long, a deep ball is very well covered there by Ashley Hawthorne, so that will make it 4th and 16, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. Midland leads Kansas Wesleyan 7-0. And Midland would end up punting right away here to start us off here in the second quarter. But Kansas Wesleyan would actually end up returning the favor. They would end up punting it here as well. So it is now 1st and 4 for Midland after a couple of punts. On first down, Morgan Kalisic makes a grab on a quick out for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 19, Diane Rabano tracks down Kayo on a scramble after 2 yards, and then a quick pass to Dominguez-Millsop is stopped by Ashley Hawthorne after 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and 12. On 3rd and long, Angel Ioane Kayo hurls it deep, and Alea Livingston hauls it in for the touchdown. And the extra point is good. So Midland now leads Kansas Wesleyan 14-0 early on here as they just cannot be stopped offensively. It is 1st and 6 for Kansas Wesleyan now. Following a missed play, Awada scrambles for a first down to make it 1st and 9 near midfield. And then a deep ball for Angel Roman is overthrown, and Awada finds Whitfield on 2nd and 9 on a quick out there to make it 3rd and 3. On 3rd and 3, Sydney Red shuts down a quick pass left to Ava Durr, but the Coyotes still get a first down here to make it 1st and 19. On 1st and long, Durr gets a big play here for the Coyotes to put them on the 3-yard line. On 1st and goal at the 3, Sydney Red steps up again as she breaks up another pass intended for Angel Roman. And then after another incomplete pass, it is now 3rd and goal at the 3-yard line, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. On 3rd and goal at the 3, Natasha Blaylock kills a jet sweep for a loss, so there'll be 4th and goal at the 5, and Kansas Wesleyan really needs to score here. On 4th down, Awada takes the snap. She rolls out right and finds her number 1 receiver, Aaliyah Wood, for the touchdown. It is now 14-6 with 1:40 left here in the first half. The extra point was stopped, so the score will stay at 14-6. It'll be 1st and 6 here for Midland. Sydney Red runs it for a first down, and on 1st and 18, Dominguez Millsop is under center, and she keeps it for a nice gain, plus a hold there on the Coyotes makes it 1st and 2 near midfield. Olivia Dominguez Millsop is still under center as she hands it off to Sydney Red, who tries to pitch it back to Millsop again, but the pitch hits the turf. It'll be 2nd and 1. The triple option is stopped by Angel Roman for a loss on the next play, so it'll be 3rd and 4 as Kansas Wesleyan calls timeout here. Angel Ioane Cayo is back under center as she rolls left and pitches it to Jocelyn Lopez, plus a hold on Kansas Wesleyan will make it 1st and 8 near the red zone for the Warriors. A deep pass on 1st down intended for Morgan Kalasek is broken up by Samari McKinney, who makes an unbelievable play on the ball there to break that one up. On 2nd and 8, Cayo to Morgan Kalasek on a post, but pass interference on Midland there will make it 2nd and 22. On 2nd and 22, this is the final play of the half, and Cayo keeps it for about 10 yards, and that takes us to halftime. The Midland Warriors are up on their rival Kansas Wesleyan 14-6 at halftime. Coming out of halftime, it'll be Kansas Wesleyan ball, 1st and 6. On 1st down, Awada keeps it up the middle for a first down. And on 1st and 18, Awada's pass is picked off as Olivia Dominguez Millsop makes the perfect read, and she picks that one off to give Midland the ball back. It is 1st and 8 here for Midland, right near the red zone. Cayo's sidearm pass to the center, Mayana Sigers, gets them the first down in the red zone. On 1st and goal at the 19, Cayo finds Emily Farron open over the middle to make it 2nd and goal at the 6. And then illegal contact on the rush on the next play will make it 1st and goal at the 3 here for Midland. A deep ball to the back of the end zone on 1st down is well covered there by Aaliyah Wood. And on 2nd down, Cayo slings a sidearm pass to Jocelyn Lopez, who makes the grab for the touchdown. And then Emily Farron hauls in the extra point, and Midland is now up 21-6 here for Kansas Wesleyan. It is now 1st and 6 here for the Coyotes as they go back down 2 scores. And they would actually end up going 3 and out here, folks. And things are starting to get scary here as Midland might be able to pull off an upset over this rivalry. It is now 1st and 4 near the red zone for Midland following the punt after a great return there. Following a missed play, it is 1st and goal at the 18 here for Midland, and Cayo finds Eunice Sambale to make it 2nd and goal at the 15. A check down to Alea Livingston goes for 10 yards to make it 3rd and goal at the 5, and Midland has a massive opportunity to go up 3 scores here on Kansas Wesleyan. On 3rd and goal at the 5, Angel Roman locks down a slant to Alea Livingston to make it 4th and goal at the 5. Midland with their potentially final chance to go up 3 scores. Cayo takes the snap, and Samari McKinney picks it off in the end zone to keep the Coyotes in this game. It is now 1st and 6 for Kansas Wesleyan late in the 3rd quarter here. A pass on 1st down goes to Angel Roman for 5 yards, and then Chihiro Awada's pass is a bullet over the middle to Valeria Gonzalez, who shakes and bakes for a first down to make it 1st and 5 near midfield. On 1st down, a dangerous pass is nearly picked off by Sydney Red, who is staring into her hands, wondering why that ball was not picked off. On 2nd and 5, this will be our last play of the half. Natasia Blaylock swats down a pass. It'll be 3rd down and 5. And that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Midland has a very solid 21-6 lead here over Kansas Wesleyan as we head into the final quarter of this matchup. The winner of this one will most likely be headed to the gold bracket. It is 3rd and 5 near midfield here for Kansas Wesleyan to start us off here in the final quarter, and Chihiro Awada's pass is incomplete. It'll be 4th and 5, and the Coyotes will be forced to go for it here. Valeria Gonzalez makes a very tough grab on 4th down, and that will get them the first along the sideline to make it 1st and 19 across midfield. Jocelyn Lopez shuts down a quick pass left after 3 yards, and then Sydney Red gets a diving flagpole on the pass left to make it 3rd down and 11. A quick pass goes to the halfback and Colorado legend Addie Cadwell, and that puts them near the red zone to make it 4th and 1, and Kansas Wesleyan desperately needs this first down here. On 4th and 1, Chihiro Awada finds Yui Watanabe, and she makes the diving grab for a first down in the red zone. It'll be 1st and goal at the 17. A quick pass goes for 2 yards, and then Awada rolls out left and hits Watanabe again as she is wide open, and she takes that near the end zone. It'll be 3rd and goal at the 2 with 7 minutes left. On the next play, it is a touchdown pass up the middle to Jasmine Whitfield, and Kansas Wesleyan now makes the score 21-12. They will be going for the 2-point conversion here to try and make this a 7-point game. Awada's pass to Yui Watanabe is caught. It is now 21-14 with around 8 minutes left, and Kansas Wesleyan does not want to go away in this one. It is 1st and 6 here for Midland. A quick pass goes for a first down, and on 1st and 20, Lexi Marquez, the veteran linebacker, shuts down a quick pass, but a questionable holding call there will make it 1st and 7 near midfield for Midland. On 1st down, Kaios passes a sidearm pass into the hands of Alexa Mansur, but that one hits the dirt. That was an easy interception there for Mansur, but let's go ahead and see what happens here on 2nd and 7. Kaio takes the snap and she tries another sidearm pass, and Angel Roman picks it off, and she goes all the way for the touchdown. Kansas Wesleyan is now only down 21-20 after being down 21-6 just about 4 minutes ago in game time. Kansas Wesleyan is actually going to go for 2 here as they want to take that 22-21 lead here over Midland. They are feeling confident in this receiving core and Chihiro Awada, and I gotta say, I cannot blame them right now with how this offense is rolling. Awada takes the snap on the 2-point conversion. She's looking to the back of the end zone. She fires a bullet into the arms of Kieran DeQuee, but that pass bounces off her chest and hits the dirt. It is now 21-20. Midland now has the ball with a massive opportunity to take off some clock and try to win this game. And if you're Kansas Wesleyan, you got to lock up here on defense because you just had a perfect opportunity to take the lead, but now you got to go on defense and do it again. But let's go ahead and see how this defense, full of veterans, responds. It is 1st and 6 for Midland. Let's see what happens. On 1st down, Olivia Dominguez Millsop head tops Aaliyah Wood to make it 1st and 10 near the red zone. What a huge play for the Midland offense, as they clearly do not want to play in the silver bracket. On 1st and 10 near the red zone, a quick out goes to Emily Farron for 4 yards, and then a deep ball intended for Alea Livingston is well covered there by Aaliyah Wood to make it 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, Kyle gets a potential back-breaking first down keeper up the middle. It is 1st and goal at the 18 as the clock ticks under 3 minutes left here in the game. On 1st and goal, Olivia Dominguez Millsop is under center as Midland gets into their clock-killing mode, and she hands it off to Sydney Wren, but that is stopped right away to make it 2nd and 21 as Kansas Wesleyan calls timeout. Millsop is under center again coming out of the timeout, but her keeper is shut down for a loss to make it 3rd and 25. On the next play, a charging flag on Kansas Wesleyan on the rush will make it 3rd and 13 here for Midland. And Midland is actually bringing out Angel Ioane here, surprisingly. And they were going to pass on 3rd and 13, and that pass hits the dirt and stops the clock. I have absolutely no idea why Midland is passing right here. They should just run the ball and let the clock tick because Kansas Wesleyan is out of timeouts. On 4th and goal at the 13, with their last opportunity to put Kansas Wesleyan away, the pass falls to the dirt and stops the clock once again as Kansas Wesleyan has a prime opportunity to try and win this game. It is 1st and 6 for the Coyotes with 1:05 left here in the game. Awada's pass goes for a first down here to make it 1st and 17, and then Awada fires it to Yui Watanabe for a nice gain, plus a holding flag on Midland will make it 2nd and 3 near midfield. Following an incomplete pass, Midland will call timeout here with about 54 seconds left. Coming out of the timeout, it's 3rd and 3, and Awada finds Angel Roman for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 17, Awada hits Jasmine Whitfield, and she gets out of bounds to make it 2nd and 8, and Kansas Wesleyan is charging down the field right now. On the next play, Awada finds Yui Watanabe on a short crosser for 7 yards, and that'll make it 3rd and 1 with 30 seconds left here. On 3rd and 1, a first down pass in the red zone, and they get out of bounds as well. It'll be 1st and 17 here for the Coyotes. Awada goes to Whitfield again, and she gets out of bounds again, and it'll be 2nd and 8 with 28 seconds left. On 2nd and 8, Awada launches one to the back of the end zone for Janice Washington, and she nearly hauls in an absolutely incredible game winner there, but it'll be 3rd and 8 for the Coyotes. But they get blessed as pass interference on the next play will make it 1st down at the 2-yard line here with 17 seconds left in the game. Midland will be forced to play their absolute best defense of the entire season if they want to prevent Kansas Wesleyan from completing this comeback here. On 1st down, Olivia Dominguez-Millsop swats down a pass over the middle intended for Yui Watanabe. On 2nd and goal, Millsop breaks up another pass as she steps up here to make it 3rd and goal at the 2 with 11 seconds left. On 3rd down, the pass intended for Watanabe is well covered by Sydney Red, and it will be 4th and goal at the 2, folks, as Kansas Wesleyan calls their final timeout of the game. This will be their final chance to try and get the win and to try and cement themselves in the gold bracket. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Awada takes the snap. She looks right. She rolls left. She fires it to Yui Watanabe, who can walk it in for the game-winning touchdown. That makes it 26-21, and Kansas Wesleyan completes the 2-score comeback to defeat Midland 26-21. Your playmaker of the game is going to go to Angel Roman for that game-changing pick 6 in the 4th quarter to put the Coyotes back in this game. Kansas Wesleyan's next game will be against Thomas, and Midland's next game will be in bracket play as they end their pool play with an 0-2 record.
This is Gino with the Playmaker's Corner podcast. I'm here with Kansas Wesleyan star receiver and defensive back Angel Roman. Angel, can you tell us a little bit about that game? You guys are down 21-6. And you have a ton of young players on this roster. What were the conversations like to get your team to this win?
So we have extreme depth on our team. We have about 35 players. So we have a lot of input. We have people looking on the sideline, giving us input to the people that are playing the game. And I think that really helped us adjust to make the comeback. We also have great depth on offense. She threw some amazing throws. Defense, Shamari, she had one PBU that was really, really a crucial play of the game. And I think just overall, we were hungry.
Absolutely. And speaking of hungry, that pick 6 to make it a 21-20 game, I know I personally got chills. Tell us a little bit about what you saw on that play that allowed you to get that pick 6.
So honestly, I don't remember, but I do remember me undercutting it might have been, I knew it was a short route, So just knowing that I saw her hips towards the receiver, so I just bit down, was able to get it, and I saw Kylie kind of screen the QB, so I went on that side, so the Q couldn't get me.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And finally, I just kind of wanted to ask, so you guys got that pick six, made it a 1-point game. How do you guys go on defense and say, we need to get the ball back? We're going to get the ball back. What's the mindset in a situation like that to get the win?
I mean, obviously, Michigan's a great team. We've been in this predicament about 3 times, probably this whole season, actually, all 3 wins. But just we knew it wasn't over. There was however many seconds left. That was the last play. But knowing there was only a couple of minutes left of the game, we knew we had to make a stop, and the defense did.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, next, folks, coming up here on the Tuesday, May 6th pool games, we got Warner versus St. Thomas. These are 2 very familiar foes in the Sun Conference. They faced earlier in the season with St. Thomas coming out on top over Warner 13-12. So Warner is definitely wanting to get that win back as they are looking to cement themselves as national title contenders. Let's not waste any more time here, though, and jump right into the recap. It is Warner ball, 1st and 6. On first down, the pass is broken up by Rayona Baker. On second down, a quick pass to Anna Vincenzini gets the Royals the first down, 1st and 20. On first down, the other QB, Katarina Macagnano, sorry if I mispronounced that there, she takes the snap and finds Trinity Kieran for 8 yards. On 2nd and 12, Jessica Finley makes a tough grab over the middle to make it 3rd and 1 to put the Royals near midfield. On 3rd down, Dominique Perez-Moore steps up and picks off a pass over the middle. It is now 1st and 7 near midfield here for St. Thomas. But not much going on here as they would end up punting it here as Anna Murillo made a big play there to help force the punt. It is now 1st and 3 here for Warner. Following an incomplete pass on 2nd and 3, NAIA Leon steps up and gets a big-time sack to make it 3rd and 10. On 3rd down, Warner has 2 QBs out there as Catherine Hutchinson takes the snap and she throws it back to Macagnano, but that pass goes over Macagnano's head and it falls into the end zone for a safety. That is extremely unlucky there from the Warner Royals. So St. Thomas will take a 2-0 lead and they will get the ball right back. But that would actually end up being another quick drive here for St. Thomas. They would actually end up punting it here with Marianne Torrero-Borrego making some huge plays on the rushes there to help force the punt. It is now 1st and 1 near the red zone here for Warner. On first down, Katarina Macagnano goes to Catherine Hutchinson, back to Macagnano for a first down in the red zone. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. The St. Thomas Bobcats are leading the Warner Royals 2-0. Starting us off here in the second quarter, it is 1st and goal here for the Royals. On first down, Lanaya Leon is making a big presence here in this one as she bats down a pass very aggressively to make it 2nd and goal. On 2nd down, Dominique Perez-Moore breaks up a pass over the middle, and on 3rd and goal at the 18, a pass intended for Jessica Finley on the slant is incomplete, so it will be 4th and goal at the 18 as Warner will call timeout here with 9:43 left in the first half as they try to decide what to do here on 4th and long. Coming out of the timeout, the pass to the end zone is nearly hauled in, but it was well covered there by Rayona Baker to force the turnover on downs. It is now 1st and 2 here for St. Thomas. A quick pass left goes to Jada Graham, and that gets them the first down. And on 1st and 17, Marianne Torrero-Borrego flushes out Bogats, but Bogats keeps that one for 7 yards. On 2nd and 10, a check down to Leah Cruz, plus a hold on St. Thomas will make it 1st and 11 across midfield. A quick pass right to Leah Cruz goes for 6 yards, and then Bogats goes to Cruz again, plus a hold will make it 1st and 7 in the red zone for St. Thomas. St. Thomas with a huge opportunity to extend their 2-0 lead as Brooke Bogats takes the snap and her pass to the end zone is picked off by Anna Murillo, who makes a huge play there to make it 1st and 6 for Warner after that pick by Murillo. On first down, Catherine Hutchinson goes to Jessica Finley, and that gets them the first down. On 1st and 20, Jade Maziotta makes a grab over the middle for 9 yards. And then on 2nd and 11, Hutchinson finds Jessica Finley, who spins out of a flagpole and pitches it to Angeline Bunting for a huge gain there. But they're not done as they get a hold on St. Thomas there. So that makes it 1st and 3 near the red zone. On first down, Catherine Hutchinson's pass is picked off by Nande Ramazar, and she takes that one to give St. Thomas the ball right back. But it is called back for a flag on St. Thomas, and following a couple of missed plays after that penalty there, that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. Coming out of the 2-minute timeout, it'll be 1st and goal at the 18 here for Warner as they desperately need to try and score here to get that lead. On first down, Hutchinson goes to Trinity Kieran, and she gets her in stride to make it 2nd and goal at the 6. On 2nd down, Dominique Perez-Moore gets a diving flagpole after a check down to the center, and she only gets a yard there. So it'll be 3rd and goal at the 5 as Warner calls timeout with just a minute left here in the half. Coming out of the timeout, Catherine Hutchinson takes the snap. She rolls out right and has Jessica Finley, who cooked her defender on the whip route, open for the touchdown. Finley hauls that in, and Warner will take a 6-2 lead, and they will call timeout here as they try to decide what to do on the extra point. Coming out of the timeout, Dominique Perez-Moore breaks up the extra point. She's having a fantastic game so far, but Warner will now take a 6-2 lead over St. Thomas, and that will be our score going into halftime. And that would actually be your final score in the game as Warner gets a massive 6-2 win here over a conference rival. They end pool play with a 2-0 record and only 2 total points given up, so that will give them the 2 seed going into pool play with this nail-biting win. St. Thomas ends pool play with a 1-1 record, but they still find themselves in the gold bracket after only giving up 6 total points here in both of their pool play games. Your playmaker of the game in this one is going to go to the 2025 PMC Wide Receiver of the Year, Jessica Finley, for grabbing the lone touchdown in this tightly contested matchup.
This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast, here with our 2025 Wide Receiver of the Year, Jessica Finley. Jessica, you just came off of a 6-2 win over a conference opponent. What is the key to staying locked in offensively in such a close score like that?
We're used to just staying locked in. We always motivate each other, keep each other up in the huddle. One mistake means nothing to us, so we're really just always on a positive vibe, and we're ready for anything, no matter what happens during the game. Doesn't matter.
You were our wide receiver of the year for 2025. How does it feel to just lead the entire country in receptions, yards, things like that? How does that feel?
It feels good. It's like a cool thing. There's so many girls, so many talented girls, so it's cool to be like at the top. It's, I work hard, so it's cool when it pays off, and I just love seeing all the girls, we're all getting better with each other. So
Definitely.
It's close.
And what is a key for you? You made such a big sophomore jump as far as statistically goes. What was the key for that?
Just staying locked in, more focused. We've been very serious at practice and just really focused on each game, each practice, very determined. That's it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
And now it is my turn to talk about the pool play from the second day here that's going to help determine our bracket. So there were 2 games that were both classics, at least to start going on in the morning. So I was trying to cover the Ottawa-Milligan game as well as the Kaiser-Baker game. So I'm going to start with the Ottawa-Milligan game here, as that one does not go down to the wire nearly the same way that the other game does. But in this game here, Milligan is going to pick up a first down on 3rd down with a tough Quinn catch. That was one of the highlights to open up their drive. And then once again, they find themselves in 3rd down, and Ashton Weirley gets a big catch for a first down past midfield. However, Sue Kaufman replies with a sack on the quarterback here, and after 2 incompletions, it's going to be a Milligan punt. Now, it is Ottawa ball here, and Carrera is going to run for a pretty decent gain here to start off their drive, and then eventually find Jada Barron here for a first down. Buno is going to respond for the Buffs with a pass breakup here, but on the very next play, it's going to be a quick pass left to Linkus, who makes a few defenders miss and houses it for about a 55-yard touchdown, as well as getting the PAT here and putting Ottawa up 7-0. On the next Milligan drive, they are going to pick up a first down once again on a Sarah Rankhorn catch, and then a penalty is going to actually push them past midfield here. So now they're in Ottawa territory for the second time in 2 drives. But unfortunately, this Ottawa defense tightens up here, and Maya Quinn, just a couple plays later, picks off the ball and kills a shot at the red zone here. Now, for the next drive here, Marley Spielberg is going to get things started here, and then another short gain is going to end the first quarter. The Braves continue moving the ball with catches by Dos Santos as well as Spielberg, along with some lateral action that pushes them into the red zone, and the drive is capped off by a Carrera run that is then lateraled to Addie Osborne here, who scores. The PAT is no good, and it is 13-0 here. Now, Ottawa would have a couple more chances to score before halftime. However, Ashton Weirley made a big-time interception in the red zone to kill a drive here. And then you also had a nice flag pull here by Yasmin Lott that kept Ottawa out of the end zone on the very last play of the half. However, it would eventually start swinging fully in Ottawa's way as they would go on to win this game 40-0 and secure the number 1 overall seed heading into bracket play. Now, on the other field, we did have a rematch from last year's pool play here between Kaiser and Baker here. But Baker looking to make some noise last year. That game didn't really go their way. So they're trying to show that they are nobody's little sibling and that they are here to play with the big kids at the playoffs here and make a push for a national championship. But to start off their drive, they will unfortunately commit a penalty that undoes a first down here, and they will be forced to punt. Now, Kaiser looking to kind of establish that hot start that got them so far in that game last year here. They start just behind midfield, and it's going to be a very short run by Haley Young that gets them past midfield. There's going to be a couple short passes to Griffin that make for a manageable first down, but eventually the Seahawks find themselves in the red zone here, and Janasia Wilson gets some catches that puts them at the 5-yard line before Haley Young finds Kennedy Foster for the touchdown here to go up early. Now, Baker here trying to respond down 7-0 here. Gets some big Lorente runs as well as a few catches here by Jalen Harris and a Waller lateral to Phillips that drives them to the end of the first quarter and are only 7 yards outside the red zone on second down to start the second quarter. But Emma Wagaman, the vet of this defense here, gets a big sack to start the second quarter, and Baker is going to find themselves even further away. But they do not get phased as Tara Lorente here finds Mahogany Simmons, who extends for a big first down and sets up 1st and goal for the Wildcats. Now, there's going to be an incomplete pass and then a penalty that negates a touchdown for Baker. And after a Waller slip, it is now 4th and goal from far away. But on 4th down, the snap goes directly to Waller, who then laterals back to Phillips, who pump fakes me with the camera away and the rusher out before throwing a strike down the middle of the field to Faith Phillips. No relation, but still points on the board here, who fully extends and scores. Baker commits a false start on the PAT, but they'd rather start from further away as Tara then throws a beautiful pass to Mahogany Simmons to tie this game up 7-7 here in the first half. However, Kaiser responds by just clicking and clacking down the sidelines for big chunks at a time until Janasia Wilson reels in a long touchdown pass and, along with a PAT, puts Kaiser right back up 14-7 here. Now, Baker is trying to stay in this one, and they are going to get another massive play from Faith Phillips, who had one of her best weeks of football during nationals here. She gets a big catch and run that puts the Wildcats just outside the red zone, and then Kaylee Phillips pushes them into the red zone along with Waller on some short catch and runs before Kaylee Phillips gets a jet sweep left to right and throws to Gabriella Zabaleta, who makes a contested catch and scores the touchdown here. Now on the PAT, trying to tie it up here, Baker's going to target the back of the end zone, but Sarah Villarreal here is not having it and breaks up the pass and gives Kaiser a lead, or helps them keep their lead instead of the tie, 14-13. On this next Kaiser drive, this is just vintage Kaiser here. Haley Young finds Ashley Clam just short of the sticks before finding Chloe Griffin on the next play for a first down. After a check down to Wilson picks up some, Young gets a big strike over the middle to Griffin, who gets a first down and puts them about 8 yards past midfield. Griffin, this is her drive, gets the next reception right. However, a false start is going to scoot them back on the very next play. Haley Young showing that she's not just about throwing the ball, but can also take off and run herself, gets a massive gain to end the third quarter and put Kaiser in the red zone. They are still nursing a 1-point lead, but Young calmly and easily drops it to a wide open Ashley Clam for the touchdown here, and then Janasia Wilson would follow it up with a catch and extension for the PAT to go up 21-13 early here in the fourth quarter. Baker trying to go band for band with Kaiser here, gets a short completion to start, but then Lorente finds Waller on a big gain that gets all the way past midfield. Wagenman once again with another big play here, gets a pass deflection, and Baker realizes that the pass rush is being a bit disruptive, so they slow it up with a snap to Waller and then a pass back to Tara Lorente, who finds Kaylee Phillips for a nice gain. You have 3 quarterbacks / athletes just tearing it up here, and what a fun system this is to watch. I would absolutely despise coaching against this, and I'm not jealous of the defenses who had to deal with this all season long, especially at Nationals here, where they were reaching their peak, in my opinion. However, outside of my glazing here, Tara is going to get the next snap and take off for a first down. And there's about 8 minutes and 45 seconds left by the time Baker breaks into the red zone, down by 8 in the fourth quarter. But Kaiser's been here before, and Wagenman sacks Tara to start the drive twice in a row to force what feels like 3rd and 30 here. And then Lorente here takes off and puts them just outside the red zone. And Waller tries to run ahead on this fourth down, attempting a lateral, but her flag is pulled first, and that gives Kaiser the ball here, trying to drain this clock. They get a short pass to Janasia Wilson that sets up 2nd and 4, but an incompletion would follow that very next play, but that doesn't really delay the inevitable here, as Griffin makes a catch for a first down with 3.5 minutes to go here. Wilson is going to catch another check down and get 8 yards, but a nice flag pull by Zabaleta stops an even bigger gain. There's going to be a short pass to Foster that sets up 3rd and 7 here. And then number 1, Destiny Martinez is going to chase down Wilson for a big flagpole just short of midfield. And Baker's going to use a timeout with Kaiser at 4th and 3. Kaiser lines up and tries to get Baker to jump off sides, but ends up burning a timeout here and replans. And so they come out and they attack the right sideline, Ashley Clam in one-on-one coverage, and they draw an interesting PI penalty here, but it is called nonetheless. And after that, Wilson is going to be in the gun and help run out the rest of this clock to give Kaiser the 21-13 lead here and help them secure the W for the Seahawks. A little bit of a scare here. I think that they weren't quite ready for everything that Baker had to offer on the offensive side of the ball, but all in all, Kaiser's experience helps pay off here and gets a win to help secure a 3 seed in the tournament. Now, there were a couple of other pool play games that went down, so I'm just going to go over them real quick here. You had Weber versus University of St. Mary here. The highlights of this game, in my opinion, are one that Caitlin Sigmundi recorded 4 interceptions for this team here, and that would help contribute to consideration for the all-tournament team, at least on our end. And then Igiana Edwards here had a really big performance here, just a freshman, and had 2 very deep touchdown passes that I was able to catch on film and helped Weber overcome USM 33-6. Shout out to St. Mary's here for responding and closing the gap on this game and making Weber sweat just a hair for a second here before Sam Wilson, being the vet that she is, really opened it up with some deep shots that helped put this game out of reach and secure the number 5 seed at 2-0 for the national tournament for the Weber Warriors. The very next game, or actually the one that was happening at the same time, that would seriously determine silver bracket standings was Kodey and William Woods here, but it was kind of all William Woods. Mackenzie Hicks having a heyday, throwing all around the yard, as well as this defense just forcing big turnovers and getting big sacks. William Woods would soar to a win, and their first ever win in their program history at nationals competition, 33-0 to beat the Kodey Comets and help secure a top 2 seed, actually the number 1 seed for the silver bracket in just their first year as a program. And then they would watch the Thomas versus K-Dub game that would determine final standings if they got that very last slot in the gold bracket. And finally, the very last game of pool play is going to be Thomas versus Kansas Wesleyan. Kansas Wesleyan here, due to how many points they allowed to Midland here, despite being 1-0, if they lose this game, they have to keep Thomas below 21 points. Otherwise, William Woods will get that 8th seed. And then Thomas here, after having allowed 7 points here, trying to keep their seeding in the tournament here and retain what is currently their number 3 seed through this game. But Kaiser is in attendance watching because if a touchdown is allowed, that puts Thomas to the 4 seed. And then obviously wins and losses here go a long way. So a little bit of a spoiler for this game if you read between the lines, but let's get into it here. Kansas Wesleyan will start with the ball. Aaliyah Wood will make a catch that gains about 3 yards after an incompletion, and a Caitlin Herb pressure will force Kansas Wesleyan to punt. Thomas will start really close to midfield here. Wilson is going to be starting at quarterback, and they'll pass to a Cole over the middle ahead to the 31 of Kansas Wesleyan. Now that is going to lead to a quick pass right here to Zoe Jackson here, who makes a gain of about 7 yards. And then Janae Scott is going to leap for a big catch and juke out 2 defenders en route to a first down into the red zone. Cole is going to make a catch and push the Nighthawks to the 11-yard line right before an incompletion. Scott gets another check down here, this time taking it to the 2-yard line, and on 4th down, they snap it directly to Destiny Lockett, who flips it ahead to Caitlin Herb at center for the score here, and then Lockett will dip ahead for the PAT, and Thomas will lead 7-0 early here. Wood would get the very first throw here for Kansas Wesleyan and make the catch to about the 24-yard line. Durr would get the reception right and gain about 3 or 4 yards before Angel Roman makes a catch left, setting up 3rd and 11, where Wada rolls left and throws it up where Roman can make a high top grab for a first down. Green would get the very next reception, and then Durr would follow it up with one right, but Giselle Jones would contest a pass and force an incompletion here, where it would be 4th and 6 for Kansas Wesleyan just outside the red zone. But Nakira Brown would make for a very tough contested catch here and throw that falls incomplete and forces a turnover on downs. Now, it's going to be 2 incompletions here that sandwich the beginning of the second quarter here before a short pass to a Cole sets up 4th and 6. They try to get Kansas Wesleyan to jump, but end up burning a timeout and punting. However, the Thomas defense always be pulling their weight here, and Caitlin Herb starts off with a big sack and pushes the Yotes to their own 9-yard line. After a drop, it is 3rd and 11 here, and Awada is unfortunately going to telegraph this pass a little too much here, and Kiera Knight is going to make an easy interception here that puts them at the 15-yard line going in, and a Cole is going to make a reception that puts them at the 3-yard line, and then keep it herself left and score a touchdown. Lockett would then catch a PAT from Wilson and put the score 14-0 here. Kansas Wesleyan, looking to get some points on the board here, would start off with a pass to Durr to get a first down, and then Wood, who gains about 4. It's going to be a catch here on the very next play by Nyjah Green, who splits the defenders but kind of ran into the defense, and that flag pushes them back, but the Yotes bounce right back with an Awada pass to Durr for a first down past midfield. Awada then throws an absolute dime to Green, who makes a great catch, pushing the Yotes to the 7-yard line. The rush gets to Awada, who almost throws a crossbody interception, and then on the next play, it is intercepted by Nakira Brown in the end zone, but she runs it out to the 3-yard line. It's going to be a short gain for Thomas to just create some breathing room, and they come out with a simple speed option with a Cole and Scott. However, a Cole breaks away here all the way into the K-Dub red zone after multiple Yotes miss flagpoles here, and the Nighthawks are now just at the 13-yard line going in. A Cole helps run and get inside the 5-yard line. Maybe should have got a flag, but nothing. And then passes to Scott, who gets to the 4-yard line. However, on the next play, Akol is pressured, and the pass is tipped by Mansur and intercepted by Soraya Tafua in the end zone here, and K-Dub catches a break here thanks to some good defense and hangs in there to try and give themselves a chance just before halftime to get on the board. They're on their own 14, and it's going to be Durr who makes a catch here right and is just 1 yard shy of the first down. K-Dub is going to take a timeout here. The next pass is going to get to number 10, Jasmine Whitfield here to the left sideline for a first down and get out of bounds. Herb gets a pass deflection on the next play and forces an incompletion with 22 seconds left in the half on second down. Durr does make a catch and get out of bounds, and with 17 seconds, it is 3rd and 11, but it is incomplete with Scott and Herb rushing Kansas Wesleyan. They will punt with 13 seconds left, and that'll basically take us to halftime, Thomas leading 14-0. However, Thomas here is going to start off 3 and out, and that's going to be bad news for the Nighthawks here, who are trying to go up 3 scores, as this still feels like a game that is within reach for Kansas Wesleyan, and they will start their next drive on their own 37-yard line. They get a quick pass right to the boundary that is caught for a first down, and then on the very next play, Kieran DeQuee here gets a catch to set up 2nd and 9 until the red zone. However, the drive stalls out in part due to a tough drop that provides a turnover on downs, but Thomas will go 3 and out on the very next play thanks to some stingy defense from the Yotes. Now, K-Dub is on their own 19-yard line, and they throw quick to Whitfield, who picks up a first down to the 26. After a drop and then some great coverage by Giselle Jones, it is going to take us to the end of the third quarter, and then Herb is going to get a sack to kill the drive. Thomas is going to start on their own 35-yard line, and they're going to set up a jet sweep that sets up 2nd and 2. They then go to Scott for a direct snap that picks up a first down. Janae Scott gets another run, and it is 9 minutes to go, as well as 9 yards until the red zone. Scott, once again here, gets a run and sets up 3rd and 3. Wilson is back in and looks right after Scott empties out and comes back left to Giselle Jones, who makes the catch for a first down. Wilson is then going to take off and set up just about 5 yards until the end zone, and there's less than 8 minutes left. However, the K-Dub defense, always when they need to, stiffens up here, and Nyjah Green gets a flagpole on a Janae Scott direct snap with 5:50 to go, and that's going to be followed up by another Kylie Douglas flagpole here to force 4th and 3, and then the pass is going to be broken up by Aaliyah Wood after Alexa Wilson just sees the open receiver a little too late, and K-Dub is going to start on their own 3-yard line after the turnover on downs. K-Dub creates a little bit of breathing room with a quick pass and a jet sweep, both to Nyjah Green that sets up 3rd and 5, and Awada is going to throw it short over the middle here to DeQuee, who makes the reception, but breaks across the field and up the left sideline for the touchdown here. And while the PAT is no good, this is now a 1-score game for Kansas Wesleyan, down 6-14. But Thomas here, they are familiar with trying to hold on to leads, and they come out in the Akol and Scott package here and run a speed option for a first down. Then Akol is going to take off left and going to draw a stripping penalty that pushes the Nighthawks ahead. They're going to get the ball to Akol right away, only 2 yards until midfield. Kansas Wesleyan takes a timeout. Akol is then going to run right, and illegal contact will push Thomas past midfield and towards a win here, as Thomas will bleed the rest of the clock and win 14-6 to end the pool play work. We did get an interview with Kiana Akol that you are going to listen to, and then I will quickly go over the bracket before passing it over to Gino for the first game that he covered in the bracket play.
Kodey Stoffer, Playmaker's Corner here with Kiana Akol off of a big win here to finish pool play. What was kind of the mentality heading into this game, and how did you gut out such a close win, especially with you being as the primary runner down the stretch?
The way I see it, this is my last season. You know, we got a bunch of first years here. This is their last year, so we're here to win it. That's all we want to do. Drop the energy each time, play our best. So.
Absolutely, and you know, you had one of the longest plays of the game on your run left here, breaking all the way into the red zone and helping just burn a ton of time here. What did you see on that play, and what's it like for you to get to run that kind of chew clock offense that y'all are known for, and you being such an integral part of that?
I love when I get the ball. I love when my teammates help me out when I do get the ball. It's essential that they help me block down and stuff, so Yeah, I love that she gave me an opportunity, and we were in the end of the field in our red zone, so it was good to be able to take it back for as long as I did.
Yep, rip off some big
Yeah,
games.
sir.
And what's the mentality heading into bracket play now?
Bracket
I
play?
believe that y'all are the 4 seed, and we'll start off with Weber, if my math is correct. But regardless, what's it, if that is the opponent or just anybody heading forward now that you have a chance to compete for the national title?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really care who the opponent is. We're going to bring our energy each time. We're going to fight hard each time, so I'm ready for whatever.
Absolutely. It's
Yes,
been a
sir.
huge pleasure covering your career, and we're looking forward to the rest of the tournament.
Yes, sir.
Best of
Thank
luck.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And so heading into bracket play here, what that is going to look like is the silver bracket is going to be William Woods at the 1 seed and Milligan at the 2 seed. Remember, the tiebreaker was points against. The play-in games for those matchups are going to be Kodey and Midland. The winner of that will play Milligan. And then University of St. Mary and Southwestern College, the winner of that will play William Woods for the silver bracket. Now, the gold bracket, this is the best it's ever been. These 8 teams were stacked, and these matchups were instant classics here for the most part. You had 1-seeded Ottawa, who would face the 8-seeded Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes, familiar opponents in the KCAC there. Thomas at the 4 seed, as mentioned in the interview here, would face the 5-seeded Weber squad. On the other half of the bracket, you had the 2-seeded Warner Royals that would be facing off against the 7-seeded Baker Wildcats. And then the 3-seeded Kaiser Seahawks would face the 6-seeded St. Thomas Bobcats in some crazy action here. We're very excited to go through all of the bracket play, and Gino is actually going to kick us off with an instant classic in the 1 versus 8 seed matchup.
Now, folks, let's go ahead and move into the quarterfinals of the gold bracket. At the number 1 seed, we have Ottawa, and they will be facing the number 8 seed, Kansas Wesleyan. Those are 2 very familiar squads. Kansas Wesleyan actually got their first win in history against Ottawa last season, and they've played a couple of close games since, but Ottawa still has the edge there in that all-time matchup. But one thing you really have to remember about this Kansas Wesleyan squad is that they have a ton of seniors. They are extremely motivated to beat a team like Ottawa. So let's just keep that in mind as we listen to what happened in this game. I know I can certainly tell you that the result of this game was not at all what I was expecting. This was one of the very best games of the season, if not just in NAIA flag football history. I mean, there were people wrapping around the field to try and see what happens at the end of this game. There was a ton of excitement, so let's not waste any more time, folks, and jump right into this recap. It'll be the Ottawa Braves ball, 1st and 6. On first down, a check down goes to the halfback Addison Orsborn, but that is immediately shut down by the senior linebacker Lexi Marquez after 3 yards. On 2nd and 3, Marquez shuts down another quick pass left, but Ottawa still gets the first down. On 1st and 20, Marquez gets the flag pull for a 3rd straight play on an Orsborn direct snap, and she is fired up, definitely trying to set the tone early here defensively. On 2nd and 15, a snap goes over the head of Madison Carrera to make it 3rd and 23. On 3rd and long, a deep ball down the field is very well covered by Janice Washington and Angel Roman to make it 4th and 23, and Ottawa will punt here on their first drive. It is now 1st and 7 near midfield for the Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes. A quick out to the right goes to the center, Ava Durr, for 6 yards. And on 2nd and 1, another quick pass goes to Aaliyah Wood on the quick out for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 19, a quick pass right goes to Kieran DeQuee, and that is shut down by Talia McInnes after 3 yards. On 2nd and 16, Awada looks left and has Jasmine Whitfield for 10 yards. On 3rd and 6 here, Awada fires it to Whitfield once again over the middle for a first down in the red zone. The Wesleyan offense is definitely rolling here. On 1st and 13, Awada finds Ava Durr for 4 yards, and then Jukani Washington immediately gets a flag pull on Jasmine Whitfield there to make it 3rd and goal at the 7. On 3rd down, Jukani Washington locks up a pass outside, so that will make it 4th and goal at the 7. On fourth down, Awada's pass to the end zone is incomplete, but illegal contact on the rush there will give the Coyotes a free first down. It'll be first and goal at the 3-yard line. On first down, NAIA Glover clamps up a pass to the center, and then on second and goal, a pass to the back of the end zone is incomplete as Ottawa is just refusing Kansas Wesleyan any sort of points. Kansas Wesleyan will call timeout here with 1:33 left in the first quarter. Chihiro Awada takes the snap coming out of the timeout. She looks left and fires a bullet to Jasmine Whitfield for the touchdown. It is 6-0 now. And then Aaliyah Wood jumps up and makes a crazy grab for the extra point as the Coyotes grab an early 7-0 lead here over Ottawa. It is 1st and 6 now for the Braves. We got a 5-yard penalty on Kansas Wesleyan on first down. So on 1st and 1, a check down goes to Addison Osborne, and she nearly breaks loose, but Angel Roman gets a huge diving flag pull there to make it 2nd and 16. A quick pass goes to Tatiana Dos Santos for 9 yards, and then Carrera surveys and eventually looks left and has Marley Spielberg wide open for a first down, and that puts the Braves near the red zone, and that closes us out here in the first quarter. Kansas Wesleyan leads Ottawa 7-0. Starting us off here in the second quarter, it is 1st and 2 near the red zone for the Braves. Madison Carrera connects with Jada Barron for a first down in the red zone to make it 1st and goal at the 16. On 1st and goal, Carrera keeps it left for 7 yards, and then a pass to Tatiana Dos Santos is caught in the back of the end zone, but she is just barely out of bounds there. It is 3rd and goal at the 9. A quick pass right goes to Jada Barron, and she nearly gets it in, but she makes it 4th and goal at the 4. On 4th down, the Braves are going for it, obviously, as Carrera looks left and finds Marley Spielberg open for the touchdown, but the extra point was stopped. So Kansas Wesleyan still leads Ottawa 7-6. It is 1st and 6 here for Kansas Wesleyan. A quick pass left goes for 2 yards, and then I missed a play there, but it will now be 1st and 19. After an incomplete pass, Talia McInnes shuts down a quick pass right after 2 yards to make it 3rd and 17. On 3rd and long, Chihiro Awada surveys, and a dangerous pass across her body is picked off by Talia McInnes. That makes it 1st and 19 in the red zone here for the Braves. Carrera's pass to the center, Alyssa Linkus, is well covered there over the middle. And then on 2nd and goal at the 19, a dropped pass on the slant will make it 3rd and goal at the 19. No need to worry, though, as Madison Carrera checks it down to Addison Osborne, and she does her thing to make it 4th and goal at the 4-yard line. Addison Osborne, you can always rely on her in late downs to make a huge play, and we will see more of that later on. On 4th and goal at the 4, Ottawa has 4 receivers to Carrera's left. She calls hike and has Tatiana Dos Santos in there for the easy touchdown. And the extra point is good. So Ottawa now leads Kansas Wesleyan 13-7. And that'll make it 1st and 6 here for Kansas Wesleyan as they really need to answer here. After an incomplete pass here, a first down pass goes to Ava Durr for a 22-yard gain to make it 1st and 4 near midfield. A quick pass to Aaliyah Wood goes for 3 yards as Kansas Wesleyan calls timeout here. On 2nd and 1, Chihiro Awada surveys and finds Aaliyah Wood for a first down across midfield. On 1st and 19, Awada fires it to Jasmine Whitfield, and Whitfield's having a huge game here as she makes it 2nd and 4 right up near the red zone. A quick out goes to Aaliyah Wood for 2 yards, and then Awada finds Angel Roman open on the hitch for 1st and goal at the 14-yard line. Kansas Wesleyan will call timeout here with 27 seconds left in the first half. Coming out of the timeout, Awada surveys and fires a line drive to the end zone, and Aaliyah Wood somehow comes down with the catch. But offsetting penalties makes it a reset of down. It'll be 1st and goal at the 19 for the Coyotes. On 1st down, a pass to Kieran DeQuee is nearly picked off, and on 2nd and goal, Awada's bullet pass is dropped, so it'll be 3rd and goal at the 19. On 3rd down, Awada's pass goes to a receiver that had their head turned, so it'll be 4th and goal at the 19 as Kansas Wesleyan will use another timeout. On 4th and goal at the 19, Ottawa completely locks down every single route. So that'll be a big-time turnover on downs, and that will also take us to halftime. Ottawa leads Kansas Wesleyan 13-7, and buckle up, folks, because we got one hell of a second half for y'all. It is now 1st and 6 here for Kansas Wesleyan to start us off in the second half. Awada hits Alexis Jimenez, the halfback, over the middle for a first down. And on 1st and 18, Awada looks right and has Aaliyah Wood along the sideline, but an illegal block there makes it 1st and 28. Awada goes to Angel Roman to put them back in the zone they were just in to make it 2nd and 19. On 2nd down, Awada fakes the handoff and hits Jasmine Whitfield along the sideline for 8 yards. And then a pass from Awada goes straight through a receiver's hands. It'll be 4th and 11, so Kansas Wesleyan will be forced to punt it here. It is now 1st and 1 for Ottawa following that punt. Carrera checks it down to Addison Osborne for a first down, and on 1st and 16, another check down to Osborne is shut down by Angel Roman after 4 yards. On 2nd and 12, Carrera goes to Alyssa Linkus for 6 yards. So on 3rd and 6, a quick pass goes to Jada Bayron along the sideline for the first down. Another check down to Osborne is locked down after 2 yards. So on 2nd and 18, Carrera rolls right and immediately has Jaslyn Camacho to make it 3rd and 9. On 3rd and medium, it is the same play to Camacho, and she gets Ottawa the first down and 20 in the red zone. So on 1st and goal, Carrera goes to Camacho again, and she is open on the out route for a nice gain to make it 2nd and goal at the 10. And Diane Rabano shuts down a quick pass here on 2nd down, and that will be 3rd and goal at the 5. It'll be the same exact play, but it is stopped after 2 yards by Rabano, so she saves a touchdown there to make it 4th and goal at the 3, as Ottawa is looking for a back-breaking touchdown here. On 4th down, Carrera has a receiver in the back of the end zone, but the freshman Janice Washington gets her hand in and gets a huge pass breakup to force a turnover on downs, and that keeps this as a 6-point game. It is 1st and 17 for Kansas Wesleyan near their own end zone. A quick pass to Aaliyah Wood, but an illegal block on Kansas Wesleyan will make it 1st and 15. Awada finds Wood on the next play, and she pitches it to Angel Roman for a nice gain. On 2nd and 5, DJ Paris gets there on the rush, and Awada is forced to spike it into the turf. That'll make it 3rd and 5, and that also takes it to the end of the 3rd quarter. Ottawa is still leading Kansas Wesleyan 13-7 as we head into the final quarter of regulation. It'll be 3rd and 5 here for the Coyotes to start off the 4th quarter. The pass from Awada is way overthrown, so they will be forced to punt it here on 4th and 5. It is 1st and 15 for Ottawa following the punt. Carrera rolls right and hits Jada Bayron for 6 yards, and then it is the same play again to Bayron for 4 more yards to make it 3rd and 3 near the red zone. A direct snap to Addison Osborne gives Ottawa a free and easy first down. It'll be 1st and goal at the 18. Carrera's pass is nearly picked off by Angel Roman, and on 2nd and goal, a pass left to Jada Bayron goes for 5 yards. On 3rd and goal at the 13, a pass left to Jada Bayron again, and she finds her way to the 6-yard line to make it 4th and goal at the 6. And Ottawa with yet another opportunity to put Kansas Wesleyan away here. Carrera takes the snap, and her pass to Linkus is over Linkus's head, and that will be another huge turnover on downs in the red zone for Kansas Wesleyan, and that is their 2nd consecutive goal line stop. They have 6:35 left here in the game, and they are only down 6 points. Let's see what happens here. Following a missed play, a pass left to Jasmine Whitfield makes it 3rd and 9. Awada fakes the handoff and hits Aaliyah Wood for a first down to make it 1st and 17. On 1st down, a pass to Angel Rowan plus a personal foul there on Ottawa will make it 1st and 7 near midfield for the Coyotes. Awada takes the snap on 1st down and floats it to Jasmine Whitfield open down the sideline, and she makes the leaping grab for a 1st and 9 near the red zone. On 1st and 9, Awada keeps it for a first down and goal at the 18, and the Coyotes have 2:41 left here to score. On 1st and goal, all of Awada's reads are locked up, and she is forced to check it down, but the check down is dropped, so it will be 2nd and goal at the 18, and that will take us to the 2-minute timeout. Coming out of the timeout, Awada finds Aaliyah Wood for 9 yards, and that'll make it 3rd and goal at the 9, putting Kansas Wesleyan right near the goal line. As Ottawa will call timeout here with 1:30 left in the game as they try and discuss what ways they're going to stop this Kansas Wesleyan drive. Coming out of the timeout, Awada takes the snap. She looks, but DJ Paris dives at Awada as she is scrambling away, and that'll be a potential back-breaking sack there to make it 4th and long for Kansas Wesleyan. It'll be 4th and goal at the 13 as Kansas Wesleyan will call timeout with 52 seconds left here, and this play coming out of the timeout will be the one that decides their fate. The score is 13-6, and Kansas Wesleyan has a prime opportunity to tie the game in regulation against the best team in the country. On 4th and goal at the 13, Awada takes the snap. She has 2 rushers chasing her down, but she has Aaliyah Wood who muscles it in for the touchdown. Oh my goodness, Kansas Wesleyan ties the game at the end of regulation against Ottawa, and they will now try for the extra point to try and take the lead over the 4-time reigning national champions. Let's see what happens. Awada takes the snap, and her extra point for the win is broken up in the end zone. It is 13-13 with 47 seconds left in regulation, folks. It is 1st and 6 for Ottawa. On 1st down, Angel Roman gets a huge sack to make it 2nd and 9. And then Ann's Diane Rabano gets the sack on the next play. And folks, I don't believe it, but we are headed to overtime in this Kansas Wesleyan versus Ottawa matchup. The number 1 versus the number 8. This is unprecedented. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. Ottawa will take the ball first here. In overtime rules in flag football, the ball starts at the 10, and then if you score, you will get an extra point try from either the 2 or 3 yard line. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. Ottawa ball, 1st and goal at the 10 here in overtime. On 1st down, Addison Osborne, keeper, is stopped by Lexi Marquez after 3 yards. It is 2nd and goal at the 7. Carrera takes the snap, but her pass is well covered by Marquez, who is again setting the tone for this Kansas Wesleyan defense. It'll be 3rd and goal at the 7. On 3rd down, NAIA Green locks down the pass intended for Marley Spielberg, and it'll be 4th and goal at the 7 as this Kansas Wesleyan defense is not going down easily. On 4th and goal at the 7, with the Braves back against the wall, Carrera surveys, and she fires it over the middle to Tatiana Dos Santos, who makes the bobbled grab for the touchdown and the lead. Let's go ahead and see what happens here on the extra point. Carrera takes the snap and fires it to the end zone, but NAIA Green steps up and breaks up the extra point. It is 19-13, and Kansas Wesleyan has yet another chance to try and win this game. It'll be 1st and 10 here for the Coyotes. Let's see what happens. On 1st down, a handoff goes to NAIA Green, but it is shut down right away. But we have a flag on Ottawa, so that will make it 1st and goal at the 5 yard line. On 1st down, Awada's pass is broken up in the end zone by Talia McInnes to make it 2nd and goal at the 5. On 2nd and goal, Awada takes the snap. She floats it to the back of the end zone, and Talia McInnes picks it off to give Ottawa the win. But the refs say that McInnes was bobbling the ball as she was going out of bounds, and looking at the replay, this was the right call. So I got to shout out the ref there for making an insane call at such a tough point in the game. So Kansas Wesleyan will get yet another try here. 3rd and goal at the 5. Awada takes the snap. She looks right, and she has Aaliyah Wood open, and she can walk it in for the game-tying touchdown. Unbelievable, folks. Kansas Wesleyan will get the ball here for the extra point with a chance to try and beat the 4-time reigning national champions. Let's see what happens here. Awada takes the snap. She slings it left on the swing pass, but Cynthia Holmes comes in with the flagpole of a lifetime, and she stops the swing pass in its tracks. What a play by the veteran linebacker Cynthia Holmes, with maybe the best play of her career. That was going to end the game right there, but Holmes comes swooping in and says, no, we're going to try and win this one. Unbelievable. It is now 1st and 10, and Kansas Wesleyan will now get the ball to start off in double overtime. On 1st down, an incomplete pass in the end zone, but an illegal rush on Ottawa. They just keep racking up those penalties on 1st down. It'll make it 1st and 5 for Kansas Wesleyan. Jahira Wada rolls right and fires an absolute bullet over Talia McInnes' shoulder, and Angel Roman somehow hauls it in for the touchdown. And unbelievable throw and catch by Awada and Roman. That was an absolute picture perfect play. I mean, the ball could not have been placed anywhere different, and Roman was maybe the only player on the field that could possibly make a catch like that. What a play by the senior receiver. Now the extra point is going to decide who will win this game. Kansas Wesleyan with a chance to take a 7-point lead over Ottawa. Let's see what happens here. Awada takes the snap. She rolls right. She has Yui Watanabe in the end zone, but the pass is dropped, folks. That is absolutely devastating. Kansas Wesleyan has now had 3 straight chances to get the extra point, but they have failed on every single one. Ottawa now has a chance to win the game somehow after all of the chances that Kansas Wesleyan has had to win the game. 1st and 10 for Ottawa. Let's see what happens. A quick pass left to Marley Spielberg makes it 2nd and 6. And on 2nd down, Carrera rolls left and has Marley Spielberg in the end zone for the game-tying touchdown. Kansas Wesleyan calls timeout because they need a stop. The season rides on this next play. Let's see what happens. On the extra point, Carrera takes the snap. She surveys and just flips it to Addison Orsborn, and Orsborn walks in the game-winning extra point. The Ottawa Braves survive an ultimate upset in the first round of bracket play with a 26-25 win over Kansas Wesleyan, and they will now advance to the semifinals where they will be playing the winner of Thomas versus Weber. Your playmaker of the game for staying locked in and showing that a 4-time national champion doesn't go down easily will be Madison Carrera. And for Kansas Wesleyan, I mean, that is as heartbreaking of a loss as it gets. To have 3 different chances to end the 4-time reigning national champion season and ultimately lose the game in double overtime is completely devastating. What I will say, though, is that everyone on that Kansas Wesleyan roster needs to be holding their heads high for how they fought in that game and how they nearly pulled off the biggest upset in NAIA women's flag football history. I mean, just to be able to come close to pulling off an absolute miracle like that, that is so insane. To all of the Coyote seniors, congratulations on your amazing careers, and thank you for your contributions as pioneers of women's college flag football.
And now we dive over to another field where I was covering the 2-seeded Warner, who only allowed 2 points and went 2-0, against Baker, who went 1-1 and were the 7 seed. So let's go ahead and jump right into it here. This is a Sun Conference versus KCAC action, so we love to see these cross-conference matchups, especially here in the postseason. So it's going to be a 2-quarterback setup for Warner here. The snap is going to go to Hutchinson, who throws right to Finley. There's going to be a shot down the right sideline that is deflected. However, PI is going to be called on this Baker squad, and that's going to push Warner ahead for a 1st down about 12 yards away from midfield. On the next play here, it's going to be a check down to number 20, and you're going to hear her name a lot today, Adriana Williams here, who gets past midfield for a 1st down. Now on the 39 going in, the Royals have a 2-quarterback setup, this snap going to Hutchinson, who keeps it herself for a gain of about 9 yards. Williams once again gets the check down and is pulled by Baker here after a solid gain. And then it's going to be 3rd and 6, and the check down is pulled basically at the line of scrimmage here by this stout Baker defense here, headlined off this initial drive by number 1, Destiny Martinez on those flagpoles. On 4th and 6, It's going to be Zabaleta this time with the flagpole to force the turnover on downs and give Baker the ball. So now they're on their own 22-yard line, and they are not moving super far, but on third down, they get a jet sweep to Phillips, who finds Waller to set up 4th and 2. They go for it, and they get a quick snap to the close back, and then it's going to be a handoff for a narrow first down on the jet sweep to Mahogany Simmons. They're going to throw back left for a nice gain almost to the 30, and then Lorente is going to take off left on second and gains about 5 yards, but however is injured on the play here, definitely impacting this Baker team with the looks that they're able to get with 3 different players who are able to throw the ball. And so it's going to be Sanaya Waller, last year's starting quarterback here, and definitely a quarterback who can play, who steps in here to try and take over. She's going to throw right to Harris, who gets the catch, and then Waller's going to keep left and run through multiple flagpoles for the touchdown here. Just 2 plays later on her drive, she gets the touchdown, and then she also finds Jalen Harris in the end zone for the PAT, and it is 7-0 Baker here with the early lead. Warner is going to get penalized to start the drive, but then Hutchinson to Finley connection sets up 2nd and 3, and then Hutchinson runs it herself for a first down. It's going to be a big pass rush here from Kayla Harrison to try and force an incompletion here with under 2 minutes left in the first. Harrison once again gets in the backfield and does get a swat at the ball, but Hutchinson makes a really heads-up play after it's batted up in the air and deflects it from Kayla Harrison to prevent an interception. Very high IQ here from Hutchinson to only leave it as a pass deflection and nothing more. On third down, however, Hutchinson gets the snap and rifles one over the middle to Anna Vincenzini about midfield, who just leaves the defense in the dust for a 57-yard touchdown here. Baker narrowly gets the flagpole on the PAT to keep the lead, but Warner, with a big explosive play here, pulls within a single point, down 7-6. Waller at quarterback here still. Lorente nowhere to be seen, still banged up. Puts together a steady drive highlighted by a big Faith Phillips catch and run to the 30-yard line. On second down, Waller unfortunately is called for a forward lateral that loses a down, setting up 3rd and 4, but she bounces right back with another pass to Faith Phillips, who picks up a first down. They call a speed option left that is pulled by Lauren Clark that sets up 2nd and 9, but illegal contact by Baker pushes them way back, and after a quick pull by Vincenzini, it's 3rd and 19. Baker dials up a play-action pass to Zabaleta that sets up 4th and about 12 here, but the double pass from Waller finds Phillips, who looks like she could be stopped short, but Warner holds on the flagpole, and that gifts Baker a first down in the red zone here by a penalty. Now on first down here, they go ahead and call a fake jet sweep pass back to Phillips, who gets to about the 10-yard line. For Warner here, they respond with a big flagpole from Andrea Castillo here, and that keeps Baker outside of the 5-yard line. Waller then keeps for a few more, but with 3 minutes and 48 seconds left here, Warner takes a timeout trying to force a goal line stand, and so the snap to Waller, she drops back, looks into the end zone, and is picked off by number 25, Jade Mazziota here with a big interception in the end zone to kill this drive. Now, Warner is going to respond with a very surgical drive here. Short throws, including one to Finley, who gains a first down just before the 2-minute warning. But then she gets a catch again, and after a Hutchinson run, Baker gets flagged, and the Royals are now in Wildcat territory. It's going to be a flagpole once again by Destiny Martinez that keeps the yards very slim on the Warner checkdown. But outside of a Vincenzini catch, it's going to be all Adriana Williams here getting receptions en route to a red zone trip. Finally, the drive is capped off with an absolute dime to the back of the end zone to Trinity Kieran here for the touchdown, and Adriana Williams will extend for the PAT to put Warner up 13-7. Now, with 33 seconds left, Baker, they're going to try and drive down the field here. And after a drop, there's 29 seconds. And then number 17, Marian Torreira Abrego here gets the sack, and that will take us to halftime. Baker does get the ball to start the second half, however. And so Destiny Martinez will get a short pass. But on the very next play, it's going to be Waller who dials up a deep one to Phillips for the score here. It's going to be a 62-yard touchdown, and the PAT is good. So it is 14-13, Baker leading. Warner, however, they've been on this stage before, And so they're going to overcome a pair of incompletions for a first down pass to Vince Insigne on third down to get them out of their own red zone. And they're going to show that experience here. There's going to be a quick flip here to number 25, Mazziota, once again, who runs ahead to the 33 of Warner. And on 2nd and 7, once again, Destiny Martinez just clinical with the flag pulls today for Baker, and that sets up 3rd and 3. Vince Insigne is going to get a reception left for a first down, and that is, almost on time at this point. It's almost like it's scheduled for Vince Insigne to get these big first downs on 3rd and short. Destiny Martinez, however, gets a good flagpole in the scramble, and that sets up 2nd and 16 before Vince Insigne gets another catch here that only leaves 7 yards left until the red zone. Finley is going to get caught with a pass and catch a penalty from Baker that pushes Warner into the red zone, and it doesn't take long for Hutchinson to throw it to the back right corner where Angeline Bunting makes a head-top catch for the score here, and with Vince Insigne catching the PAT, it is 20-14, Warner leading. Now, Baker here gets Zabaleta a yard short of the first down, and then they find Faith Phillips for a first down. It's going to be Destiny Martinez who takes a check down past the 30-yard line, and then a pass right to Phillips that gets past midfield. Waller gets pressured and throws an interception, but a penalty on Warner keeps the drive alive. It's going to be a short run and incomplete passes that follow to end the third quarter, and then a run by Waller actually gets to the 1-yard line, setting up 4th and goal from the 1 for Baker after a Waller rush here, and they call a direct snap, but number 17, Marion Torrero Abrego here with the big clutch flagpole leads to a turnover on downs and keeps the Warner lead at the top of the 4th. She had a fantastic game and just a really good showing overall this week for Warner in this national stage. Now, Warner here, if they can go up 2 scores, that would definitely help them try and put this game away, and they get a quick pass right to Finley that creates some breathing room from their own 1. However, Zabaleta gets a very fast flagpole at the 9 on the check down, and on 3rd and 11, they set up a check down and lateral that sets up 4th and 2 here, and this is very interesting here. Warner lines up here, tries to get Baker to draw off sides, and they end up burning a timeout. But when they come back out, they are not punting. They are still going to go for it inside of their own red zone. And after the incompletion, Baker comes out on the 18-yard line and makes very quick work with a Waller handoff to Kaylee Phillips on a jet sweep, who throws to Mahogany Simmons for the score, and they tie this game up 20-20. And when they try and go for the score here, on the PAT, that is, Vince Insigne is going to break it up and keep it as a tie game. Now, Warner here, they're going to quick pass right to Finley, just a yard shy of the first, but the reception by Mazziota does get the first. Adriana Williams gets a check down and makes a couple defenders miss and sets up 2nd and 7 before Mazziota gets another pass to set up 3rd and 1 to midfield with 4 minutes to go. Williams gets a first down past midfield, and this looks like a vintage Warner drive to close this game out. But after a very short gain and quick flagpole for Baker, it is the 2-minute warning, and Zabaleta responds with a major flagpole to set up 3rd and 10 here before Warner passes left to Vince Insigne here, only gaining 2 yards, and Baker's going to use a timeout, and with 1 minute and 3 seconds, 8 yards separates Warner from, continuing this drive and probably putting this game away, but another incompletion from this stout clutch Baker defense here forces a turnover on downs here, and now Waller has about a minute to take over this game and make some history here for Baker for their first win in the gold bracket of program history. She takes off and sets up 2nd and 9, and then she finds Kaylee Phillips for a decent gain here, setting up 3rd and 1 until midfield. Waller then takes off and laterals to Phillips, who gets out of bounds at about the 25 going in, and Baker takes a timeout with 10 seconds left. They throw a quick pass and burn another timeout here with 1 second to play. Baker is on the 20-yard line, and it all comes down to this here. The snap gets to Waller. She drops back, throws a high arching pass, an absolute moonball, and there's one defender separating Faith Phillips from the ball. Faith Phillips goes up and reels it in for the walk-off touchdown. Baker wins this one 26-20 in a stunning upset here. and one to be remembered for Baker with the backup quarterback of NAIA Waller. Definitely a quarterback that most programs would kill to have as their number one quarterback, and she showed exactly why. We do get an interview with Sanaya on her secrets and what she was looking for, but she gave a huge shout out to Faith Phillips. Faith Phillips really came alive this week at Nationals and put on an absolute show, highlighted by this head top one-on-one touchdown catch for the upset win over Warner here. Obviously, if you're Warner here, this is a very tough loss. I mean, they came in as a 2 seed. They played really good defense all week here, but this Baker offense is just a whole other monster with all the moving parts that they have. And I mean, I know at the end of the day, shout out to my guy Mims, but I think that a lot of people are looking back at that opportunity to punt that gave Baker only 18 yards to tie the football game. And I'm a bit more conservative. That may be just because I've had to coach players that are less experienced than the talent that obviously Warner has. But this Baker offense was just on fire, and they made them pay en route to tying the game up. And then obviously that Baker defense really stiffened up to get them the ball back, because that Warner offense was driving, and I thought for sure that was going to be all she wrote. But Zabaleta and Destiny Martinez here were just killing it at the linebacker spot, not missing flag pulls, and just on top of everything, which is saying something in a matchup that has some of the best linebackers in the country when you look at Warner's side with Vincent Cini and Lauren Clark. But Baker and the Wildcats send the Royals home and punch their ticket to the semis for the first time in program history. Please enjoy this interview with athlete Sanaya Waller.
Kodey Stauffer behind the camera here, Playmaker's Corner, with utility Sanaya Waller. Sanaya, you just came off of an exciting game here. What was your mentality once Tara went down with that injury and you were back to your quarterback spot?
My mentality, it was just kind of all over the place. I didn't really know what to think now that our star QB was down, just to know that I had to step up and just really execute. Now that she was down, it was just a little all over. But we stepped up, whole team stepped up, and we pushed through.
Absolutely. And I mean, your versatility is something that we respect a lot at the podcast. What's the secret to being such a versatile offensive weapon, especially in this very dynamic offense that demands so much of you and asks you to do so much? What's the secret to your success?
Athleticism. That's really all it is.
Athleticism.
Yes.
And obviously, we can't go through this whole interview without talking about the final play of the game. 1 second on the clock, 20-yard line going in. I mean, this is what every athlete dreams about, to be in that spot and to make that play. What did you see on that final play to bring home the win and punch your ticket to the Final Four?
A head tap. Throw it to our big dog, Faith. Throw it up to her and just believe in her. And she did it. She caught it.
Absolutely. Congratulations on a huge win, and we're looking forward to the rest of the tournament.
Yes, thank you.
And then real quick, just swiveling over to the silver bracket here. We actually had a really close game here between University of St. Mary and Southwestern for the chance to play William Woods here. Southwestern was leading deep into the fourth quarter here, 8-7 over the University of St. Mary, but some big defensive plays down the stretch brought it home as Southwestern pulled away 21-7 to punch their ticket to the next round. Wish we were able to catch this game, but just a lot of fields and only 2 of us for this year, but we will be back in numbers in the future.
All right, folks, let's keep it rolling here with our quarterfinal coverage here for the 2025 NAIA Women's Flag Football Championships. In this game, we got number 4 Thomas facing off against number 5 Weber. Both of these squads went 2-0 in pool play, and they are both Sun Conference squads that always face each other at least one time a year. The winner of this game will be facing number 1 seeded Ottawa in the semifinals for a chance to play in the national championship. It'll be Weber ball, 1st and 6 to start us off in this one. A quick pass from the QB, Samantha Wilson goes to the freshman Ziona Shingles for 5 yards, and then a check down to Emma Balaco makes it 1st and 15. After a couple of missed plays, it is 3rd and 9 here for Weber, and then a deep pass on 3rd down is nearly picked off by Diva Jones to make it 4th and 9, and Weber will be forced to punt it here. Destiny Lockett gets a huge punt return to make it 1st and 17 in the red zone for Thomas to start off their first drive of the game. The QB, Alexa Wilson, fires a check down to Kiana Cole, and she gets the Nighthawks near the end zone here to make it 2nd and goal at the 3. On 2nd down, Alexa Wilson immediately finds Cole again as Kiana Cole gets the touchdown, and the extra point was no good, but Thomas takes an early 6-0 lead here. It is now 1st and 6 for Weber, but they would actually end up going 3 and out here as Caitlin Herb and Janae Scott made some big plays there to help force the punt. It is now 1st and 1 near midfield for Thomas. A check down to Janae Scott, and she pitches it to Amiri Logan to put the Nighthawks near the red zone. It'll be 1st and 2 for the Nighthawks. On 1st down, Wilson finds Zoe Jackson open over the middle for the touchdown, and then Kiana Cole hauls in the extra point. So Thomas is rolling early on here. They are now up 13-0 still in the first quarter. On 1st and 6 here for Weber, Janae Scott shuts down a pass to Caitlin Sigmundi, and then a swing pass to Cheyenne Duran goes for a nice gain and 1st down to make it 1st and 10. On 1st and 10, Ziona Shingles gets Weber the 1st down across midfield to make it 1st and 19, and Weber's offense is finally starting to shake that rust off. On 1st and 19, I might have spoke too soon because Nakira Brown steps up and picks it off. It'll be 1st and 2 for Thomas, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Thomas leads Weber 13-0. Thomas would waste no time here to start off the second quarter as Alexa Wilson hits Nakira Brown for the touchdown, and Zoe Jackson hauls in the extra point. So Nakira Brown got the interception to set up the drive, and then she finishes it off with the touchdown. Thomas leads 20-0, so it'll now be 1st and 6 for Weber, down 3 scores. A pass to Ziona Shingles goes for 5 yards, and then Wilson goes to Bria Cam for a 1st down to make it 1st and 13. A quick pass to Caitlin Sigmundi goes for 5 yards, and then Samantha Wilson fires it to Bria Cam for 7 more yards to make it 3rd and 1. On 3rd and short, Caitlin Herb gets there on the rush and breaks up the pass to make it 4th and 1, and Weber will obviously be going for it here. On 4th and short, Wilson keeps it up the middle for the 1st down. It'll be 1st and 19 as Weber calls timeout here. A slant goes to Cheyenne Duran for 2 yards, and then a quick pass to Sigmundi gets him 3 more to make it 3rd and 14. On 3rd and 14, Akira Knight steps up and breaks up a pass over the middle to make it 4th and 14, and Weber will be punting once again here. It is now 1st and 1 for Thomas following the punt. Alexa Wilson hits Janae Scott for a 1st down. On 1st and 18, Wilson and Zoe Jackson are definitely in sync today as she makes a diving big-time grab to make it 1st and 20. On 1st down, Wilson fires it to Maddie Hoagland for 10 yards, and then following a missed play, it is now 1st and goal at the 18. Samantha Wilson fires it to Amiri Logan along the sideline for 9 yards, and then a touchdown pass to Zoe Jackson is called back after an illegal block. It is now 2nd and 19. On 2nd and 19, Wilson rolls right and hits Zoe Jackson for 5 yards to make it 3rd and 14. On 3rd down, Wilson is under pressure and flips it to Janae Scott for a solid gain, and that'll make it 4th and goal at the 4-yard line. On 4th down, Wilson looks right and fires it to Maddie Hoagland for the touchdown. The extra point was stopped, but Thomas takes a 26-0 lead, and we will cut off this recap there as Thomas moves on to the semifinals to play Ottawa with a 33-0 win over Weber. Your playmaker of the game in this one is going to go to the QB Alexa Wilson. She was nails in that one. And it wasn't the greatest ending to Weber's season, but I know that they're just happy to make it into the gold bracket after all the injuries that they've had this year. I think it's a true testament to the hard work and locker room chemistry from the players and the coaching on this Weber roster. Thank you to the Weber seniors for all of your contributions to the sport. You are all pioneers, and it was a pleasure getting to cover your careers.
And now we got St. Thomas, the 6th seed, facing off against the 3-seeded Kaiser Seahawks. Let's jump right into this with the familiar Sun Conference opponents. Last time these two faced off, Kaiser ended up on SportsCenter Top 10 with shout-out PMC fan Brenna Ramirez here, and so they are looking to repeat that and cruise to a win here. Now, Kaiser opens up with just some quick passes, quick work to get to the 37-yard line, and when they are facing 2nd and 3 until midfield here, they find Janasia Wilson, who sprints left ahead past midfield. After an incompletion, Ashley Clam makes a deep catch over the middle that pushes Kaiser all the way to the 17-yard line going in. Sophia Caprio makes the next catch on a check down that gets ahead to the 7-yard line and also scores on the next play, and an Ashley Clam PAT puts Kaiser up early 7-0. STU shrugs off a drop on the first play of the game with a pass to Leah Cruz here, or Leah Paulette, that gets to the first down. 3 straight passes here to Rayona Baker, pushes them past midfield, and then there's going to be a check down to 16, who maybe gains a yard, but then the pressure on second down forces an incompletion. STU runs around with a couple of double passes and covers a lot of grass, but only gains 5 yards and will have to punt. Young takes off for a short gain to set up 2nd and 2, and then a pass to Clam is caught, and she accelerates to the 31-yard line for a first down. Caprio then makes a catch over the middle to end the first quarter. Young takes off for a good chunk and a first down here, and then a pass to Wilson has another good gain. A pass to Clam and a few laterals pushes them inside the 17-yard line, and then Caprio pushes the Hawks forward. Kaiser finds Wilson right that puts them at about the 6-yard line with 8:23 in the half, but STU uses a timeout, and this looks like a great timeout here as they bounce back with a Nandi Ramasar pass breakup here that forces a 4th down here, and STU takes their second timeout of the first half with 7:26 here, and it's going to end up working out as the check down to Janasia Wilson is stopped just short by Serenity Marte here, and that's going to force a turnover on downs. Big goal line stop to not go down 2 scores. STU will start on their own 9-yard line, and a pass left to Tashumba gets to the 19. This will be immediately followed up by a pass to Leah Cruz down the seam that sets up 1st and 6 until midfield. Now, there's going to be a rollout here to the right by Bogatz, who throws back across the field. That's going to be caught by Sydney Brooks, who gets a first down to the 38-yard line, and then Rayona Baker gets them to the 30. Things are clicking here as there is another reception, this time by Jada Graham here, that puts them into a 3rd and 8 situation with 4 minutes left in the half. However, an Emma Wagaman pass rush sets up an incomplete pass, and facing 4th and 8, STU takes their final timeout here of the half, and it was once again a great timeout as Tashumba Washington has a massive catch to move the sticks and keep the drive alive. On 1st and 19 at the 2-minute warning, Cavalotti responds for this Kaiser defense with a quick flag pull, keeping the gain to almost 0. Cruz does get the ball in the next play and pushes STU inside of the 15. On this down, Bogatz buys time, rolls left, and finds Tashumba, who hits the juke and scores here. Kaiser uses a timeout, and Wagaman gets a breather and then a massive swat to keep the Kaiser lead 7-6. Kaiser has about a half minute and strings together some short completions and getting out of bounds to their own 37-yard line with 5 seconds left. They take a shot, but it's going to be an incompletion forced by Dominique Perez Moore here. And that leaves enough time for 1 second where the Kaiser lateral attempt does not gain enough. And so at halftime, Kaiser only nurses a 7-6 lead, and STU will get the ball to start. Brooke Bogatz comes out firing on all cylinders, keeping right to a nice gain to the 29-yard line, collecting a first down along the way. That's going to be immediately followed up by a pass to Jada Graham that sets up 2nd and 4. There's then going to be a catch called here that definitely hit the turf, but, does set up a 3rd and 1 where Cruz picks up the first down from a pass left. There's then going to be a quick pass left to Tashumba once again that sets up 2nd and 15, and then Jada Graham that sets up a good gain. However, it's going to be Dominique Perez Moore who makes a reception that pushes them deep into the red zone. Cavalotti contests a pass heavy, forcing an incompletion here, and then she's going to follow it up with a clutch flagpole that forces 4th and 4, and STU is going to take a timeout here, but a false start is going to push them back, and so with 5:15 left to go in the third quarter, it is 4th and 9. They still got to go for it, and Bogatz is going to win the sprint to the pylon for the score, and then also find Tashumba for the PAT and give STU a 13-7 lead. Kaiser responds by coming out with their 2 quarterback set, this time Finetti at QB, who quickly pushes the Seahawks down the field with Young at that QB2 spot, where they do swing it to her, and she buys time, finding Sophia Caprio for a big gain. They then complete a few passes for a first down to the red zone, but a penalty undoes the gain. And on the very next play, Washington intercepts Young and gives STU the ball in their own red zone here. So now they are nursing this lead and have the football. Graham does make a catch left for a first down to the 20, and then they only get another yard before this Kaiser defense gets a quick flag pull and ends the quarter. To start the fourth quarter, Deshumba makes a tough catch that sets up 4th and 4, and STU takes a timeout. But on the rollout left, Emma Wagenman gets the sack and forces a turnover on downs. So now it's Kaiser ball at the 27-yard line, and they are deadly from anywhere on the field, but especially if you give them the start in enemy territory, and they will quickly make them pay here as Janasia Wilson gets a pass and sets up 2nd and 1, and Caprio gets the first down. They are, however, facing 3rd and 5 in the red zone after a couple more receptions, but Young stays cool, calm, collected, and lobs one to the back of the end zone that's caught by Kennedy Foster, tying the game at 13. STU takes a timeout before the PAT, but it doesn't matter. Foster's been here before, and she's in the back left corner for the lead, 14-13 in the fourth quarter. Now, STU is going to throw quickly to Baker for a first down to the 21, but then Samaya Bryant on the very next play is getting an incredibly quick flag pull to hold the check down to a loss. Cruz is going to get a pass right that gains 8 yards, and on 3rd and 13, they're going to draw up a double pass here that draws a pass interference penalty for fresh life to the 37-yard line. Cruz will get a first down past midfield, and with 4 minutes to go, Bogats is going to have all the time in the world to find Cruz to her right, who gets to the 25-yard line. Samaya Bryant closes the distance quick on the next play for a quick flag pull, but Rayona Baker is open right again for a first down with 2 minutes to go. STU is on the right hash at about the 10-yard line, and Bryant pulls Bogats' flag at the 4-yard line, and Kaiser takes a timeout here. There's going to be a pass left incomplete, but on another play very similar to the one that put them in the lead initially, Brooke Bogats is once again going to win a sprint here and put STU up 19-14 here on just a quick 10-yard dash by Bogats, showing incredible burst and acceleration and putting the ball in Kaiser's court. Wilson and Caprio, however, get receptions that push Kaiser all the way towards midfield, and then Wilson gets another one and laterals to Chloe Griffin, who gets past midfield and out of bounds. On the next play, though, it is going to be Nandi Ramasar here, one of the best young linebackers in the country, getting a big pass breakup in one-on-one against Ashley Clam. She was consistently tasked with this assignment and rose to the occasion quite a bit, so shout out to Ramasar there, that linebacker for STU. There's going to be a short pass left to Clam that is caught, and Kaiser's going to take a timeout. On the next play, Young is going to roll right and throw across the grain to Wilson, who breaks ahead into the red zone, just evading flagpole after flagpole like crazy. And on the first play in the red zone, it's going to be a throw left to Foster, who laterals to Cavallati, who hits a massive juke to score the go-ahead touchdown. Ramasar will intercept the PAT, but Kaiser still leads 20-19. And STU will just run out of time as the Seahawks defense makes their flag pulls and seals the deal to punch their ticket to a semifinal matchup with Baker. Assessing this game from that bigger lens here, STU gave Kaiser all they got. And talking to the coach of STU after the game, talking to the coaches, plural, they brought up a pretty good point and one that I wholeheartedly agree with. There were no clocks out on the field, and it's just kind of odd for, a national competition that determines who is the best program in the country to not have, just a more accessible clock than asking the refs all the time. I don't think that dismisses what Kaiser was able to accomplish, and I think that, they play this game 100 times, that Kaiser wins the majority of the time. But STU is coaching their tails off, and just really impressed me and blew me away. And there were a lot of great performances. It really stinks that Brooke Bogats is a senior. I think that she was electric to watch live and honestly had a lot of upside. Shout out to her on her basketball career, and I was able to give her props afterwards. And, there were some other players like Rayona Baker, who is going to be a shame to miss. I want to say that Deshumba, this is her senior season as well. So, this STU team has been very fun to watch. It was really weird seeing them without Holly Neer, but no Holly, no problem for this STU team that I still think accomplished quite a bit this season and has a lot to be happy about. But definitely some feedback that I think could be taken into consideration, and there's more feedback where that came from as we head forward through this tournament. But for the time being, Kaiser punches their ticket to the next round. In some other action that we weren't able to catch here just because of the amount of fields, we once again missed another silver bracket game, but we do have some silver bracket action on the way for you here. But Midland would pull off the 42-0 win over Kodey to schedule a matchup against Milligan for later in the day.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and talk about the semifinals here in the silver bracket. We got Southwestern facing off against William Woods. These are two teams that had already faced earlier this season, with William Woods getting the win there. And Southwestern is definitely wanting to get their get back here as they come to the close of their 2025 season. The winner of this matchup will be facing Milligan in the Silver Bracket Championship on Thursday. So let's not waste any more time and see what happened in this matchup. It is going to be 1st and 6 here for Southwestern to start us off in this game. On first down, a slant goes to the wide receiver, Olivia Manfrey, for 4 yards. And then following an incomplete pass, a direct snap to Manfrey gets the Mound Builders the first down. On 1st and 19, the freshman QB, Kennedy Hayes, rolls out left, and she finds her receiver in stride on a post for a big gain to make it 2nd and 4. It was Sharifa Piamonte on the catch there. Hayes then finds Colorado's very own Mary Jones for a first down to make it 1st and 20. Addie Chalek then breaks up a dangerous pass on 2nd down, followed by Jaden Jalbert, who swoops in and snags the flag on a scramble for a loss to make it 3rd and 22 as Southwestern calls timeout. Coming out of the timeout, Kennedy Hayes scrambles for a big gain down the sideline to make it 4th and 8, and Southwestern's going to go for it here. On 4th down, Yvonne Brusel and Olivia Perkins get there on the rush, and they will force a turnover on downs. It is now 1st and 12 here for William Woods. On 1st down, the QB, Mackenzie Hicks, finds Jaden Jalbert for a first down, followed by a dropped pass to make it 2nd and 20. On 2nd down, Hicks fires it to Kennedy Van Noy for 6 yards, and then Hicks slings it to Addie Chalek for 3 yards, and William Woods is going to go for it here. On 4th and 11, Hicks checks it down to Brusel, who flips it to Hicks, but Mary Jones shuts that one down for a big-time turnover on downs. Southwestern would actually end up punting it here. They would go 3 and out on this next drive with Kennedy Van Noy making some big plays defensively. It is now 1st and 3 for William Woods. A dropped swing pass makes it 2nd and 3, and then Kennedy Van Noy hauls in the first down catch to make it 1st and 18. And then after an incomplete pass, that takes us to the end of the first quarter. This score is all knotted up 0-0. Starting us off here in the second quarter, Hicks rolls right and hits Addie Chalek for 5 yards to make it 3rd and 13. Hicks then fires a dot over the middle to Natalia Hernandez de Leon for 10 yards, but William Woods would end up punting it here. It'll now be 1st and 1 for Southwestern. Following a missed play, that makes it 2nd and 6, and then following an incomplete pass, that is 3rd and 6. So Viviana Solis on 3rd and 6 takes the direct snap, and she gets them the first down. On 1st and 19, a pitch is nearly picked off, so that'll make it 2nd and 19. And Southwestern will be calling timeout here with 7:15 left in the first half. Coming out of the timeout, Kennedy Hayes slings it over the middle, and Sharifa Piamonte burns the defense for a 59-yard touchdown. Hayes then scrambles in the extra point, so Southwestern takes a 7-0 lead here in the second quarter. It'll now be 1st and 6 for William Woods, but they would have nothing going here, and they would actually end up punting right away. It is now 1st and 11 following that punt. On 1st down, Solis is under center, and she fakes the handoff and keeps it for a yard. William Woods called his timeout with 3:48 left here in the first half. Coming out of the timeout, Candy Hayes fires a beauty over the middle, and Olivia Manfrey makes the grab for a big-time first down across midfield. On 1st and 12, Hayes rolls right and hits Olivia Manfrey again, and that'll go for 11 yards to make it 2nd and 1. On 2nd down, Manfrey takes the direct snap for a first down in the red zone. It'll be 1st and goal at the 19 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Coming out of the 2-minute timeout, Kennedy Hayes takes the snap, and she has Olivia Manfrey open on the post again, and she hauls it in for the touchdown. Southwestern now takes a 14-0 lead after Viviana Solis made a tough grab for the extra point with 1:54 left here in the first half. It is now 1st and 6 for William Woods. Following an incompletion on 1st and 2nd down, on 3rd and 6, Mackenzie Hicks finds Addie Chalek, who spins out of a flagpole and goes a long way for a first down near the red zone. It'll be 1st and 5 as William Woods calls timeout. Following a missed play, it is 2nd and 5, and a deep pass to the end zone is broken up by Olivia Manfrey to make it 3rd and 5. Following another incomplete pass, it is 4th and 5, and William Woods is going to go for it here as Mackenzie Hicks takes the snap. She hurls it deep, and Kennedy Van Noy with a broken finger comes down with the grab for 6. The extra point was stopped, but William Woods makes this a 14-6 game with 50 seconds left in the first half. And Southwestern would have nothing going for them in that final drive of the half. So we are going to go to halftime. The Mound Builders lead the Owls 14-6 in a game that will decide who goes to the championship in the silver bracket. Let's go ahead and check out the second half. It is William Woods' ball, 1st and 6. Mackenzie Hicks finds Addie Chalek for 5 yards, and on 2nd and 1, Kennedy Van Noy makes a tough grab for a first down. A short pass goes for a little bit, but they actually end up losing yards here due to a flag guard. Van Noy then makes a tough grab down the left seam, and on 3rd down, Hicks finds Brussel for a first down. However, when they get past midfield, Mackenzie Hicks' pass is picked off by Colorado's very own Mary Jones. And that'll make it a first down at the 21-yard line here for Southwestern. Hayes on first down runs it left for a first down, and she breaks it free into the red zone. And then on the next play, she runs left, and that gets them to the 4-yard line. So Kennedy Hayes making some big plays here. Mary Jones takes the jet sweep right, but she is tackled, drawing a penalty there. But William Woods' Emma Anderlich is hurt on the play there. Brussel is now back in the game. A direct snap goes to Kayla Yaniguez, and she gets it in for the score. On the extra point, Hayes takes the snap, but it is picked off by Kennedy Van Noy, who bolts down the sideline and takes it in for 2 points. William Woods now makes it a 20-8 game. That is very, very interesting. They are now only down 12 to Southwestern. William Woods now has the ball, and they come out with quick completions to Kennedy Van Noy and Jaden Jalbert for a first down. Addie Chalek on the next reception gets them close to midfield, and they get past midfield after an Olivia Perkins catch on the next play after that. Southwestern gets a sack from Sharifa Piemonte to slow things down, but then Kennedy Hicks bounces back with a deep connection to Yvonne Brussel, pushing them inside the 5. The Mound Builders then respond with 2 pass breakups, but on 3rd and goal, Hicks surveys and finds Kennedy Van Noy for the touchdown. Moon gets a sack on the PAT, but the score is now 14-20. William Woods is still trailing here in the 3rd quarter. Southwestern would actually end up going 3 and out here to end the 3rd quarter, and it is now William Woods' ball near midfield, and they get forced backwards here to start out the 4th quarter with a great flag pull by Kayla Yaniguez. On their second play, Hicks kind of lobs it up, and Olivia Manfrey steps in and picks it off. Southwestern now has the ball back with a chance to go up 2 scores, but on the second play of the drive, they go to Olivia Manfrey, and that gets them the first down across midfield. Across her to Manfrey, that picks up 6 yards. And on the next play, Yvonne Brussel gets a big flag pull to keep the game to just 2. On 3rd and 12, a tough catch opportunity for Southwestern, and they will end up punting it here as they are playing the field position game. A touchback makes it 1st and 6 for William Woods with 6:20 left here and rolling in the 4th quarter. Mackenzie Hicks unloads a pass deep to Olivia Perkins on first down, and that goes for 66 yards. And that will tie this game up at 20. And William Woods is going to go for the 1-pointer here to try and take the lead. And on the extra point, Mackenzie Hicks fires it to Natalia Hernandez de Leon, and she hauls it in for the extra point as William Woods now takes a 21-20 lead after being down 20-6 just a bit ago. There's now 5 minutes left in his Southwestern ball. Emma Anderlich has sticky coverage, and she forces a breakup on first down, and the next pass is just a little bit out of reach. On 3rd and 6, a short completion sets up 4th and 2, and on 4th down, Addie Chalek breaks up the pass for a massive turnover on downs as William Woods, has the ball. 2:40 left in the game, up 1 point. A score here should put this away. Scratch that, though, as a couple of plays later, Viviana Solis steps up and picks off the pass, and that'll give Southwestern the ball back and a chance to try and win this game. First play of the drive is up the right seam to Viviana Solis, and that gets them almost to the 30-yard line. The next play, Kennedy Hayes rolls right, and it is down the sideline to Mary Jones to put them across midfield. Southwestern is on the 30-yard line, and then Hayes is forced to tuck and run it for about 5 yards. Following an incomplete pass, it is now 3rd and 5 with 53 seconds left, and the pass is incomplete to make it 4th and 5. 49 seconds left to go. On 4th and 5, Kennedy Hayes takes the snap, and William Woods gets the sack. Yvonne Brussel gets there for the win, and that completes the comeback. William Woods advances to the Silver Bracket Championship with a 2-score comeback here over Southwestern. Your playmaker of the game is going to go to Kennedy Van Noy for the massive pick 2 that eventually would end up winning them the game in this 1-score win. And that is an extremely tough way to end the season for Southwestern. It really looked like they were going to run away with that win there, but that is unfortunately not what happened. They battled extremely hard this week despite having a very, very limited roster as far as numbers go. And honestly, the future is bright. And after talking with head coach Noah Harris and just hearing about his mindset and philosophy, I would say this team's future is in great hands. Thank you to the Mound Builders on an awesome season.
Kodey Stauffer here, joined by just recently victorious William Woods baller here, Kennedy Van Noy. Okay, look, going into halftime, obviously y'all were down. What was the talk like at halftime to really rally and bring this comeback to life?
Unfortunately, just with our team and some things happening, we definitely need to bring the energy up. It was all about playing together because I know we struggled in the beginning to kind of find those connections with each other, and we kind of reminded ourselves what we're playing for. We're all freshmen. We're playing for our family. We're playing as a group. For us, it's not about the big fame or winning or anything. We really just want to play together because that's been the real goal this whole season. Just playing together, playing strong, and playing most importantly with love is what we say in our hustle. In our huddles, we say play with love, play with kindness. And that's really what we say to each other, and I think that's what really makes it happen.
Awesome. Not a lot of love or kindness towards the Southwestern team,
not,
of course.
But to each other. I think that's the most important part.
Absolutely. But, that hustle helped you find the end zone multiple times, including on what I think is the most pivotal point in this game, that pick 2, I guess you would call it. What did you see on that play? And, how did you go the whole length of the field to really bring that energy towards that second half?
With my finger and whatnot, it's been broken for a few weeks now, so I'm really just trying to do everything I can with either hand. If it bobbles, it bobbles. I just want to catch it and get it home. When I see open space, I just really want to get there as fast as possible and just get that momentum going. We are down, and when energy's down, the team doesn't play as well. We're getting on our heads. We beat them twice already. We knew we had to do it a 3rd time, and it's always hard beating a team 3 times in a row because they know
Absolutely.
our stuff, they know us, they know our personnel. So I think it was just really about finding those moments where you could have the most energy and the most explosive. It's really about those explosive plays, at least for me. I made a mistake on defense, so I knew I had to come back and really get it going.
And explode onto the scene with the biggest play of the game, the longest play of the game. And now that puts y'all as a first-year program in the B League or in the B Tournament Championship. What does that mean to you, and what are you trying to bring towards that championship game?
We're really happy to still be here, because we're playing and we want to keep playing games with each other because, next year our team's not going to be the same. We know this. There might be some transfers. There can be some people coming in. So we really just wanted to make the most of this group we have because we know it's special. We all know, and we're really sad that we're not going to be able to play with each other all 4 years. But we know how special it is. So we want to go as far as possible, really just racking up these wins and doing what we know how to do best.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to covering the championship, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and move on to the event that we have all been waiting for. The game that was heard around the world. The overtime that was heard around the world. One of the craziest games that I've ever gotten to witness in person. And I mean that with my whole heart. Regardless of tackle, flag, this game had it all. From controversy, big plays, and just veteran players stepping up when their teams needed them most. I am, of course, talking about the semifinal matchup between number 1 seeded Ottawa and number 4 seeded Thomas. This is a rematch of 2 different national championships. One 2 years ago had arguably the most controversial call in all of NAIA flag football history, not to be outbeat by what happens later in this game. But basically what you need to know is that these 2 teams do not like each other. There was a ton of chirping throughout this game and in past matchups. And yeah, basically both teams want to beat each other so badly. And that's what makes this such an awesome matchup. I don't want to waste any more time, folks, though, so let's go ahead and jump right into this first quarter here so we can discuss later on what happens in this game. It'll be Thomas ball, 1st and 6 to start us off here in the first quarter of this semifinal matchup to get to see who will be playing in the national championship on Thursday. On first down, the handoff goes to Destiny Lockett for 5 yards, followed by a quick hitter to Kiana Akol for a first down. On 1st and 18, Alexa Wilson keeps it rolling here as she rolls out right and has Maddie Hoagland for 6 yards. And then on the next play is a short pass left to Janae Scott for 4 more yards, so that will make it 3rd and 8. On third down, a check down to Janae Scott, and she finds her way across midfield for a first down and 19. A check down to Kiana Akol goes for 4 yards, and then Janae Scott takes a short pass, but she ran into the defender there, so that will be a charging penalty to make it 2nd and 25. On 2nd and long, a pass left to Janae Scott goes for 6 yards, and then DJ Paris steps up and shuts down an Alexa Wilson keeper, and that'll be 4th and 18, so the Nighthawks will be forced to punt it here. On first down, Madison Carrera's pass goes to the veteran center, Alyssa Linkus, for 4 yards. And on second down, Kira Knight steps up and picks off a tip pass. That will make it 1st and 12 for Thomas in Ottawa territory following that interception. An incomplete pass on first down makes it 2nd and 12. And Alexa Wilson scrambles for a decent gain, plus a flag on Ottawa there will make it 1st and goal at the 18. On first down, DJ Paris says, "Give me that," and she rips the ball out of the receiver's hands and bolts down the sideline. What a play by Paris there. It is now 1st and 6 for Ottawa because Paris's knee went down on the fumble there, so it would go back. But actually, Ottawa would end up going 3 and out here, and that will make it 1st and 1 near midfield for Thomas. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. It is 0-0 here in this semifinal matchup. Following a missed play here, it is 1st and 18 across midfield for the Nighthawks to start us off here in the second quarter. Alexa Wilson goes to Destiny Lockett for 3 yards, and then an incomplete pass makes it 3rd and 15. And then I missed a play there, but it is now a first down in the red zone. A flag on Thomas makes it 1st and 26, and a Kiana Akol keeper is stopped after 3 yards to make it 2nd and 23. On 2nd and long, a handoff goes to Destiny Lockett outside to make it 3rd and 18 as Thomas is trying to set themselves up for a decent try for a touchdown. The Nighthawks are going to keep it rolling here as the direct snap goes to Kiana Akol, and she takes that for 9 yards to make it 4th and goal at the 9, and that will give the Nighthawks a very decent opportunity to try and put some points on the board here. On 4th down, Alexa Wilson takes the snap, and she floats it to the end zone into the arms of an open Zoe Jackson for the touchdown. And then Kiana Akol hauls in the extra point, so Thomas now takes a 7-0 lead early on here in the second quarter. It is now 1st and 6 for Ottawa after that score. A check down to Addison Orsborn gets them the first down. And on 1st and 14, a pitch to Orsborn is incomplete. On second down here, Alyssa Linkus makes a tough grab, and she gets the Braves near midfield to make it 3rd and 1. On 3rd and short, Carrera rolls right and hits Jaslyn Camacho for the first down across midfield. And then they roll the same play to Camacho on the next play. That gets them 7 more yards. And then it's the same play on the next play, but this time it goes to Tatiana Dos Santos, and that makes it 1st and goal at the 19. On first down, Destiny Lockett shuts down a Carrera scramble, and that'll be 2nd and goal at the 17. Carrera then rolls right and hits Jaslyn Camacho for 5 yards. And on 3rd and 12, Carrera slings a check down to Addison Osborne, but that one gets stopped to make it 4th and 8. On 4th and goal at the 8, it is a dropped pass in the end zone, so that is a huge turnover on downs here for the Thomas defense. On 1st and 12 here for Thomas, Kiana Akol direct snap goes for 5 yards as they are getting into their, as a player on Thomas calls it, their clock killing / limiting mistakes mode, where Kiana Akol is under center and they kind of just trying to chip away here. On 2nd down, Kiana Akol takes the direct snap and hands it off to Destiny Lockett on the jet sweep, and that gets him 6 yards. Akol then takes the snap and she pitches it to Janae Scott, and Scott takes that for a very nice carry to make it 1st and 10. Another Akol direct snap goes for 2 yards, and then Akol takes the direct snap for a big gain for a 1st down across midfield. They are just running the ball here, but they are making it work as they get across midfield here. And the rusher, Sue Kaufman, is down on the play there. She is an all-PMC member here in the 2025 season, so they definitely need her to be in this game. On 1st and 12, a very questionable pass is nearly picked off by Maya Quinn, and that will take us to halftime, folks. Thomas is up on Ottawa 7-0 in the semifinal matchup. It'll be 1st and 6 for Ottawa, but they actually end up going 3 and out here, with Caitlin Herb getting a huge sack on that drive. It is now 1st and 20 across midfield after a great return by Janae Scott, but Thomas would end up going 3 and out as well, as DJ Paris and Sanaya Glover made some big plays here for the Ottawa defense as they really want that ball back. It is now 1st and 6 after the punt for the Braves. A drop pass on 1st down makes it 2nd and 6, and then Nakira Brown shuts down a quick pass to Alyssa Linkus after 5 yards. On 3rd and 1, Carrera goes to Marley Spielberg for a big-time 1st down. It is 1st and 14 for the Braves. On 1st down, Carrera keeps it here for a nice gain to make it 2nd and 3, and then Carrera slings a short pass to the sure hands of Marley Spielberg, but it is underthrown, so it will now be 3rd and 3. On 3rd down, Carrera rolls left and somehow finds Alyssa Linkus, despite Janae Scott being right there, and that'll be a 1st down and 19. A swing pass goes to Addison Osborne, but Caitlin Herb adjusts and she gets the flagpole, so it'll only be a 2-yard gain there on the pass to Linkus. Linkus then takes advantage of a missed flagpole on the next play, and she makes it 3rd and 3. On 3rd down, Jaslyn Camacho steps up and makes a tough grab on the bullet pass from Madison Carrera to make it 1st and goal at the 16-yard line, and that is going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. The Thomas Nighthawks lead the Ottawa Braves 7-0 as we head into the final quarter of regulation here in this semifinal matchup. On the first play of the 4th quarter, Caitlin Herb steps up and gets a big-time sack to make it 2nd and goal at the 22. A quick pass left goes to Jaslyn Camacho for 2 yards, and then Diva Jones bats down a quick pass left to make it 4th and goal at the 20, and this is going to be very tough for Ottawa to try and score. On 4th down, a deep pass to the end zone for Marley Spielberg is well covered by Diva Jones, and that will be yet another turnover on downs. It is now 1st and 20 for Thomas, but they would actually end up going 3 and out here as they continue to roll with that killing clock formation here, and they are really just trying to maintain that 7-0 lead as long as they possibly can. They really are just not trying to... They're just trying to minimize mistakes on offense, honestly. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like they've had multiple opportunities to try and go up 2 scores on Ottawa. But, this is definitely a way to try and win the game. And you got to do what you got to do against a team like Ottawa. So I don't necessarily blame Thomas for how they're playing this game. But anyway, it is 1st and 12 for Ottawa after that punt on the 3 and out. Madison Carrera flips it to Addison Osborne for 4 yards, and then Jada Barron takes advantage of a missed flagpole after the catch to make it 1st and 14. Carrera slings it to Jaslyn Camacho, and that will be yet another 1st down to make it 1st and 20 here in the red zone as Ottawa is rolling here on potentially their final drive of regulation. On 1st and 20, Maddie Hoagland stops a quick pass after 3 yards, and then offsetting penalties on the next play makes it 3rd and goal. Carrera's pass on 3rd and goal is incomplete, so that will make it 4th and goal at the 15 with 2:17 left, and Ottawa's going to let that roll to the 2-minute timeout, and they are going to take that here as it is 4th and goal at the 15, and this could potentially be the final play of their season. Will Thomas step up and shut down the play, or will Ottawa pull off yet another miracle? Let's go ahead and find out here together. On 4th down, coming out of the timeout, Madison Carrera takes the snap, and she heaves it deep. I mean way deep to the end zone as it sails out of bounds. But wait, there is a flag on the field as the ref calls pass interference there on Thomas. And I have to say, that is a highly questionable call there from the ref. This ball was completely uncatchable, and I don't even know if the receiver fell because she ran into one of the Thomas players or if they tripped. I'm not sure, but I would definitely not call that pass interference there. But it was, so now it is 1st and goal at the 7. Under 2 minutes left for the Ottawa Braves with a huge opportunity to try and tie this matchup in the closing seconds. On 1st and goal at the 7, Janae Scott shuts down an Osborne checkdown after 3 yards. And then a couple of incomplete passes there makes it 4th and goal at the 4 with Destiny Lockett stepping up big time here. No timeout here for Ottawa as Carrera takes the snap on 4th and goal at the 4. She rolls right, and she has the sure hands of Marley Spielberg for the touchdown. It is 7-6, and if you could believe it, Ottawa is right back in this matchup as they nail the extra point to make it 7-7. It is now 1st and 6 for Thomas in a tie game, and you got to wonder if that coaching staff is regretting not being a little bit more aggressive offensively when they had the chance earlier in this game with the lead. But let's go ahead here. A run on 1st down goes for a yard as Thomas calls timeout here. Coming out of the timeout, Kiana Cole pitches it to Janae Scott, and Scott gets out of bounds to make it 1st and 19. On 1st down, Sue Kaufman forces an incomplete pass on the rush. And on 2nd and 19 with 20 seconds left, a check down goes to Janae Scott, who runs over a defender, so that will be a flag there to make it 2nd and 20. And then following a few incomplete passes, folks, that is going to take us to the end of regulation. Ottawa is headed to their 2nd straight overtime game on Wednesday, the same day they just played Kansas Wesleyan in double overtime. Ottawa's greatness will now be tested for the 2nd time in 2 straight games on the same day, if you could believe it. Let's not waste any more time and jump right into this absolutely ballistic overtime. It'll be 1st and 10 here for Thomas as they start off with the ball in overtime. And they would waste no time as Alexa Wilson immediately floats a beauty to Zoe Jackson for the touchdown. And then the pass to Destiny Lockett on the extra point is behind her, so that will make it 13-7, and Ottawa has a chance to win this game once again. It is 1st and 10 here for the Braves. On 1st down, Madison Carrera goes to Marley Spielberg for 8 yards to immediately put the Braves right near the end zone. On 2nd and goal at the 2, it is a direct snap to Addison Osborne, and she ties this game up at 13. Ottawa will now try for the extra point to try and survive and advance to the national championship for the 5th year in a row. Carrera takes the snap, and Kira Knight picks off the extra point that was tipped by Caitlin Herb, so the score stays tied at 13 apiece. Ottawa will now start with the ball in double overtime. On 1st and 10 here, Caitlin Herb gets there on the rush and forces a spike pass from Carrera. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 10. On 2nd down, Carrera rolls right and fires it to Tatiana Dos Santos, and Janae Scott just barely gets the flagpole there. It'll be 3rd and goal at the 2 for the Braves. On 3rd down, Carrera rolls right and easily finds Alyssa Linkus for the touchdown for their first lead of the game in double overtime. It is 19-13 now, and they will be going for the extra point momentarily. On the extra point, it's Kira Knight once again as she locks down the extra point. It is 19-13, and Thomas now has an opportunity to win this game with a touchdown and an extra point. Let's tune in to see what happens. It is first and goal at the 10 here for Thomas. Alexa Wilson takes the snap. She rolls right and gets Janae Scott downhill for a 7-yard gain. Sue Kaufman gets the flag pull there. On second and goal at the 3, Janae Scott takes the direct snap, but she is stopped at the 1-inch line. It is third and goal right near the end zone. On third and goal at the 1, Alexa Wilson fires it to the end zone, and it's tipped by Maya Quinn into the hands of Talia McInnes, but the ball hits the ground just barely. So Talia McInnes, just like in the Kansas Wesleyan game, has a near interception to completely shut down the game, but it is now fourth and goal at the 1-inch line for the Nighthawks. Let's see what happens. Alexa Wilson takes the snap, and she immediately fires an absolute bullet, and the throw of a lifetime past the rusher's hands and into the arms of Zoe Jackson to tie the game. But the ref says that Jackson's foot was out of bounds. The crowd is absolutely stunned here at the KC Current practice facility as Ottawa players and fans celebrate together on the field after one of the most stunning endings to a football game that I have ever witnessed. Now, let's wind the clocks back 2 years to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Thomas and Ottawa are facing off in a best-of-3 matchup for the national championship. It's game 3. It's the final drive. Kiana Akol reaches across for the touchdown for the game winner to give Thomas their first ever national championship. But the refs say that her flag was pulled before she gets in. Stuff like this you just can't make up, folks. When a team like Ottawa gets calls like this in such big games so consistently, it has to be so frustrating for the opposing players, coaches, fans, and honestly, I gotta say, it's pretty frustrating as a fan of the sport. At a certain point, when Ottawa is reaching national championships every single year, sometimes at some point, someone's going to question the legitimacy of the sport when you have one team that's winning all the time. And when you go back and there's points where that team that's won so much has been stopped for the final play of the game. Now, that's not to say Thomas would have 100% gotten the extra point after that pass to Zoe Jackson. But, I mean, you kind of have to wonder what would have happened if they called that a touchdown like it should have been. Zoe Jackson made the catch. Her back foot was down with clear possession of the ball. As we can see in our video, Kodey and I were literally, in the video, it looked like the ball was headed straight for Kodey's camera because we were right there for the play. We saw it with our own eyes. And we saw Alexa Wilson make the throw of a lifetime into the arms of Zoe Jackson for the game-tying touchdown in double overtime. But that is not what's going to happen. And it sucks. And, when it keeps on happening, it becomes pretty frustrating. And, I've been covering the sport for a couple of years. Simon and Kodey have been covering the sport for even longer, dating back to the first days of NAIA. And we're just fed up with stuff like this. We really need NAIA to sanction this sport so we can get NAIA refs, get some sort of replay system, something more legitimate so reffing blunders like this don't happen and they don't ruin huge games for teams that are loaded with seniors like Thomas. A lot of those players, in fact, most of them experienced the heartbreak in Atlanta 2 years ago. So for this to happen to them again, it sucks. It really sucks. I do want to say though, it's not Ottawa's fault. It's not the Sours' fault. It's not the players' fault. I'm not trying to say that. And I'm not trying to take anything at all away from Ottawa. They are the clear cream of the crop of this sport. Talking to the players, talking to the coaches, they just get it. They watch a ton of film. They don't really use their players on both sides of the ball, so they're well rested. They just get it, and that's why they win all the time. But in games like this, when bang bang plays, I mean, you can't beat Ottawa unless you get calls like that. And when you're not getting them, it just stinks, man. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Ottawa. That was, I mean, the way they fought back in this game, the way they fought back in the Kansas Wesleyan game. I mean, it's just a testament to just how badly these players on that team want to win. We talked to Addie Orsborn, and she just she loves the idea of a double overtime twice. A lot of players would be scared of that, but Ottawa welcomes it because they're so battle tested and they're so well coached and they just execute so well. So again, it's not the Ottawa players' fault. It's not the coaches, and I hope they don't take what I'm saying that way, because they really are like that. They're really that good. But man, like I said, NAIA, it's time to step up. It's time to get us some real refs, so misplays like that just don't happen. I guess that's my 2 cents on the play. I'm gonna let Kodey kind of talk about it a little bit here, but I just want to say I thank you to the Thomas seniors. I mean, we got so many legends on this roster, pioneers of the sport that, I mean, they're legends in every way, shape, and form. Janae Scott, Giselle Jones, all these players are just so important to what's been built with this sport, and I'm sorry that your season ended like this. It's not what anybody wanted. And keep your heads up high because, I mean, you had that game. It was right there. You guys had it. You've all had such fantastic careers. I hope the Thomas players that are going to be on the roster next year just stay motivated and want to get back to this point so they can go ahead and win one because they deserve it. They really do. Shout out to Coach Palmer for what she's built there. And yeah, thank you to the Thomas team for an awesome season. And congrats to Ottawa for moving on, man. Another chance for a national title. We're going to cover that here soon, but let's go ahead and hear from Kodey on his thoughts on that final play.
Yeah, I got to agree with a lot of what Gino said. I mean, this game was an instant classic and one for the ages. And so were the best 2 out of 3 series that we got from these squads. So have been the regular season matchups that we've seen from this out-of-conference rivalry that we've seen. And really, it is one of the most storied matchups that we've seen in the history of college flag football. But it is one that is marred with a little bit of controversy. And that's unfortunate. And the unfortunate is not just applied to the losing side, although the sting does, I'd say, apply a lot more for Thomas players, but it also delegitimizes, through the officiating that is, the works of Ottawa. As Gino said, all of these athletes are top tier, the coaching is top tier, and when people question it inside the community, obviously, like, the rings and the hardware are still there, so at the end of the day, Ottawa is comfortable at the top here, but for people who are trying to get into the sport and they witness this, or they know the story behind this, or the word gets out about these calls that have been made, and you see patterns develop, it's bad for the sport. It's just bad for the sport. It's not bad for the sport for Ottawa to be 5-time national champions. Dynasties happen, especially at the beginning when you have powerhouses headed by great coaches who are obsessed with the game and by selfless players. But it's just bad for the sport for officiating to come into question to 2 of the biggest games in the sport's history. That's bad. Now, obviously, every single sport has this happen, but to the percentage of which it has happened in benefit of Ottawa does raise some concerns. And it is something where, why is NAIA not running this as a championship or a regional level sport? That's a legitimate question. The NAIA needs to do a better job of getting this in the hands of their schools and making this a regional or making this a championship and having their officials pull a lot of the work here. Because, of course, people are going to look to the connection of Kate and her experience in the NFL, which is super BA, by the way, and they're going to be like, oh, well, NFL flag is favoring them. And whether it's legit or not, there is, evidence that people can point to, and that's not good. The fact that people can point to something and do a this, then, because with it, that is bad for the sport. And it's also, I think after talking with Coach V, it's on the NCAA as well. The fact that flag football and these athletes who should be Division I athletes aren't making the impact on the NCAA scale with NCAA officiating and NCAA replay is ludicrous. It's actually ludicrous. And when we look back on this in 10 years, when it's made its mark in the Olympics and the international play is stronger than it's ever been, and the NCAA does have it, this is going to be looked at as a joke in the history of the sport. And that is a freaking shame, because these are some of the best athletes I've seen in any sport, period. Professional, collegiate, high school, whatever you want to chalk it up to. These women have done so much for women's athletics, for the sport of flag football, and for the sport of football as well. And that includes the Ottawa Braves, that includes the Thomas Nighthawks, and that includes the Sauer Sisters. And everything that they've accomplished is very important. And it's bull that it's marred. It has an asterisk next to it. And that's just the facts of the situation. Being there a few years ago, I mean, the evidence was on the Jumbotron, and that's bad. That's not good. And yeah, there's really not much more to add on other than sorry to Thomas. There's nothing that anybody could do with the clip. And, sometimes you lose like that. I've lost that way as a coach, and I've lost that way as a player, and it is a part of the sport. And that is something that you can live with to an extent, is a mistake. But when it happens more than once or a few times, that's when the eye rolling starts happening. And it's, like I said, it's not just, it is cheating out Thomas of opportunities. And like Gino said, Ottawa can still stop it and still win that game. And I do think that they were favored for a reason. But it also cheats Ottawa out of, a lot of people. I think that the mistake is that a lot of people blame Ottawa for the officiating, when really it's the governing organizations that are kind of fumbling the bag on that. And I mean, that combined with the lack of electronic scoreboards at a national competition is a little bit of a tough look. And just talking to some of the coaches being displeased with how nationals was exactly set up, and kind of the late notice that went into everything that I also experienced on the journalistic side, there has to be some major change. And I think that the best way to go about that is just through who is running it. What is NAIA prepared to do? What is the NCAA doing to get this ball rolling and get these D1 athletes their D1 opportunities with D1 facilities and with D1 officiating as well, and access to challenges and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it's just a bummer. And it was a very lame way for the game to end, because it was an instant classic. And I'd love for a triple overtime. That would have been awesome. And I think that the Ottawa players would have loved a triple overtime or a chance at it. And same with Thomas, but you can't control that. And well, a little bit of a spoiler for anyone listening this far, that would kind of wrap up the amount of challenges that Ottawa would face down the stretch in the championship. So, but once again, congratulations to Ottawa for getting the win here, and congratulations to Thomas on an awesome season. NAIA, NCAA, do better. More from the tournament coming up, including an interview with Addie Osborne.
Cody Stoffer here, Playmaker's Corner, joined by Addie Orsborn. 2 big games today, 2 double overtimes. I mean, you've been around this scene. What does the experience do for you in big games like this, having been to nationals over and over again and playing at high-level games?
I'm not going to lie. Going into double overtime twice is, like, I think what this team lives for. Like, yeah, we go back and forth in games all the time, but, like, going into double overtime and then taking it, like, knowing that we, like, stayed in it till the end, I just, like, so much, like, instant gratification. Well, I guess not instant gratification, but, like, gratification in the end, and it's, like, it shows how much work we put in and how much effort to, like, stay true, tried to the end. So, I mean, for me, it wouldn't be nationals without 2 double overtime games before going to the national championship game.
Yeah, I was about to say, that is just insane.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you made 2 massive plays in overtime both games today. What were you seeing? And, I mean, you're not the highest volume player on this team as far as touches go. So how do you stay dialed in knowing that your number can be called at any time in the biggest moments?
Well, you just said it yourself. Your number can be called on at any time, and also, like, if people forget about me, that's cool because you can let me go and I'll just walk right into the end zone. That's fine with me. You had mentioned something about seeing how to get in the end zone. It's all Madison Carrera. She tells me where to go and I do it, and then we win. So all hail Madison Carrera.
All hail Madison. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just constantly in the rotation for our awards, and we see everything. And like you said, you're on your way to another nationals appearance. I mean,
you think it's going to go into double overtime?
I would love to see it, but I don't know if your coaches would love to see it.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us would love to see that. But I mean, hey, 3 for 3, why not?
Hey, we'll see if the prediction comes true. Addie Orsborn, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
And then there was the rematch here. This one is Kaiser and Baker here. Baker trying to avenge that loss from earlier, but down a quarterback. Let's see how this one goes. It's going to start off with Baker on offense. Waller passes to Zabaleta for a gain of 3. And then Phillips is going to run, Kaylee that is, for a first down to the 24-yard line. However, Kaiser's defense is going to clamp up and eventually force a turnover on downs. For Kaiser here, they're going to get a quick pass to Caprio here that sets up 2nd and 4. A false start will scoot them back, but Caprio's very next catch puts them at the 8-yard line, and a pass left to Janasia Wilson is waltzed in for a score, and then the very next PAT is to Wilson, who spins in for the PAT, giving Kaiser the 7-0 lead. There's going to be an incompletion on the first play, but then Waller finds her receiver for a first down to the 24-yard line. A deep shot down the right sideline will draw PI and push Baker to the 34 and give a fresh set of downs, and Waller will shift and spin ahead to the 39-yard line following an incompletion. Zabaleta would catch a pass right for a first down, and then Baker here would get a reception from number 6 on this roster, who is listed as Maciela Peralta. Sorry if I just butchered that here, but either way, her catch sets him up with 2nd and 3. There is Wagonman on the next play, though, getting some pressure and almost forcing an interception, but a penalty for an illegal forward pass will still hurt the Cats that are now facing 3rd and 7. Waller will line it up and toss it to Jalen Harris, who's too strong and rips away the pass for the score, and then Phillips will catch the PAT, and it is 7-7 now. Caprio will get a reception that sets up 2nd and 1 to end the first quarter, and it is pouring rain out here. Absolutely just getting myself drenched and making it hard to type. But just like myself, Kaiser will persevere here and get a throw right to Clam, who picks up a first down. Young then shovels ahead, and 3 laterals later, it is a Janasia Wilson touchdown just out of the blue from one player to the next, and Wilson is the final benefactor down the right sideline who puts them ahead here. The PAT is no good, but Kaiser still leads 13-7. Baker will get some big plays, including a massive run from Kaylee Phillips that puts them just shy of midfield. But the field is quite slippery here, and Phillips is going to have to be helped off the field and is banged up. Waller will have to solo the quarterback play more than ever and will start off with a shovel pass that sets up 2nd and 1. An incompletion puts the Cats in a 3rd and 1 situation, but a quick pass left to Zabaleta once again gets a big first down. Now, Kaiser will respond with defense from Villarreal here, who gets a nasty swat here. And after another incompletion, Baker is facing 3rd and long. Waller runs right, but can't evade Cavallati that sets up 4th and 9. However, Phillips comes back in the game and gets a swing pass, and she takes off and extends for the first down into the red zone, keeping Baker's drive alive. Waller will run right and get to the 7-yard line with 4:13 in the half, and Baker will call a timeout. Kaylee Phillips will get an end around, accelerate, and juke in for the score. And while the PAT is no good, that makes it a 13-13 ball game. Now, Kaiser here, they excel in these quick drills here to get down the field. They start off with a quick pass left to Kennedy Foster, who's 1 yard short of the sticks, before finding Clam deep over the middle, all the way past midfield. Caprio then catches the next rollout right and gets inside the 15-yard line, bringing us to the 2-minute warning. Clam gets another reception from Young, putting Kaiser at the 11, and then a great flag pull by Zabaleta keeps Kaiser out of the end zone. There's 4 yards to go on third down, and it's going to be a slant over the middle to Chloe Griffin, who catches it and scores from Haley Young, and then the PAT to Ashley Clam is caught and good, putting Kaiser up 20-13 here. Baker is going to find Kaylee Phillips to the 19-yard line, and then they're going to find Elena Romy here to the 37-yard line and take a timeout. Now, there's a couple of incompletions here before a deep pass to Mahogany Simmons is caught, but it is halftime here, and Kaiser will start off with the ball. However, this is going to be incredible defense by Baker. After allowing a first down shovel pass to Brenda Ramirez, they clamp up here, including a big pass contest from Zabaleta that sets up a punt. Baker now with a chance to take a lead here, goes backwards on play one thanks to OPI, but Waller draws a hold on the very next play, but it's declined in favor of 2nd and 3. Waller takes off left for a first down, and then a pass right to Harrison is lateral to Kaylee Phillips ahead to the 26-yard line. 6.5 minutes in the third quarter here. Baker in Kaiser territory, and Waller runs ahead into the red zone to the 18-yard line. However, Wagman on the very next play gets a good flag pull to keep the short pass to only a 5-yard gain. And then Samaya Bryant snuffs out the pass back here for a big loss here. And after the next play is a shot down the right sideline that doesn't draw PI. It is 4th and 20, and the Heave would have scored, but an illegal block negates the gain and sets up 4th and 30, where Kennedy Foster swats it away and forces a turnover on downs. Kaiser would really just open this game up here as Young gets a deep strike to Wilson that puts the Seahawks at the 14-yard line, and then Clam gets them inside the 10. There's going to be an incompletion to end the third quarter here, but on 3rd and 9, Baker commits a hold, and then Foster gets a touchdown pass right that probably puts this game out of reach, along with her PAT to go up 27-13. Baker comes out and will eventually be intercepted by Kennedy Foster, and on the return, there's a penalty flag, and tensions rise as Baker and Kaiser players have to be separated by coaches and players. There's a lot of talking here, but Kaiser does the rest of the talking with their play to go ahead and win this game. The final score of this game was 34-13, Kaiser advancing to the national championship for the 2nd year in a row. And the last game of the day is a thriller that I wish I had seen here. It was the other semifinal between Milligan and Midland here, and this ended up being a comeback win for Milligan here, who pulls out the gutsy win 27-20 to punch their ticket for the 2nd year in a row to the Silver Bracket Championship, this time trying to bring home some hardware. Up next, we are going to have the championship games between William Woods and Milligan, Ottawa Kaiser, and we also talk a little bit about the NJCAA game as well. Gino here is going to take over for that first championship game.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and close out this silver bracket here. We got the William Woods Owls facing off against the Milligan Buffaloes for what should be most likely the most evenly matched of the silver bracket squads here. These are two very young squads that are going to be returning most of their players for next season. So these are two very exciting teams. But let's not waste any more time here and jump right into the Silver Bracket Championship, where Milligan's got the ball here to start us off. 1st and 6. A short pass goes left, and then Bridget Kaiser wastes no time as she launches a deep pass over the middle to Yasmin Lott, and Lott goes all the way for the touchdown. And then Caitlin Quinn hauls in the extra point. So Milligan will take an early 7-0 lead here. On first down, a pass left goes to Yvonne Brussel for 5 yards, and then William Woods gets them to jump off sides, and they take a shot, but the penalty is ultimately what advances them for the first down. After an incompletion, we got a sack to make a third and over 20 yards. On 3rd and 20, Mackenzie Hicks launches a beautiful corner throw to Yvonne Brussel to set up 4th and 1 near midfield. On 4th down, Hicks's pass is dropped, so that will be a turnover on downs. But no need to worry there as Milligan goes 3 and out here as Olivia Menard got a big-time pass breakup and Yvonne Brussel got a sack there. Surprise, surprise. It is now 1st and 18 for William Woods after that punt. But they would actually end up going 3 and out as well. So it is now 1st and 16 for Milligan after that punt from William Woods. A short pass to Jaleese Padilla, and she gets them the first down across midfield, and William Woods is going to call a timeout. Coming out of the timeout, we got an incomplete pass that was well covered by Jaden Jalbert, and then a quick pass over the middle to Krista Quinn goes for 11 yards. A short pass to Sarah Rankhorn goes for 6 yards, and then Bridget Kaiser, her pass right to Caitlin Quinn gets them the first down in the red zone. On 1st and goal at the 19, Kaiser goes to Caitlin Quinn for 3 yards, and then Bridget Kaiser rolls left, steps up, and nails Krista Quinn in stride for the touchdown. Sarah Rankhorn then hauls in the extra point, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. Milligan is up on William Woods 14-0. I missed the first couple of plays for the William Woods drive, but it is now 3rd and short. A check down to Sam Menard gets them the first down. After an incomplete pass and another incomplete pass, it is 3rd and 19. Mackenzie Hicks tries a deep ball to Kennedy Van Noy, and it's incomplete, but pass interference will make it 1st and 9 for William Woods. A first down pass gets them across midfield to Olivia Perkins to make it 1st and 19. The rusher for Milligan, Tatiana Buno, steps up here and bats down the pass. It'll be 2nd and 19. After a quick pass goes for 7 yards, a pass to the sideline for Kennedy Van Noy is well covered by Krista Quinn, and that will force a punt here. It is now 1st and 1 for Milligan, and they're going to call timeout with 4:59 left in the first half. After a few plays and a first down pass, it is now 2nd and 15 as Bridget Kaiser hits Ashton Weirley in stride, but Yvonne Brussel gets a huge flag pull there before she can get the first down. On 3rd and 3, an incomplete pass is nearly picked off by Kennedy Van Noy. On 4th and 3 here, Sam Menard gets there on the sack, and she hits the ball out of Bridget Kaiser's hands and into the arms of Kennedy Van Noy, who goes all the way for a massive pick six. Van Noy then attempts a one-handed catch with a broken finger on the extra point, but it'll be pass interference on Milligan, but the extra point was dropped on the next play. So the score is now Milligan 14, William Woods 6 after that big-time pick six and batted pass from Sam Menard and Kennedy Van Noy. It is now 1st and 6 here for Milligan, and they would actually end up punting on this drive. Krista Quinn stepped in as QB because Kaiser hurt her arm there as she was throwing back on that pick six before. So it is now 1st and 1 near midfield for William Woods after that punt. After a couple of check downs, it is now, and a charging call on Milligan, that makes it 1st and 6 near the red zone for William Woods. Tatiana Buno bats down a pass, surprise, surprise there. And then a deep ball is well covered by Krista Quinn, also a surprise, and I am being sarcastic. On 3rd and 6, Mackenzie Hicks finds Yvonne Brussel for a first down in the red zone. On 1st and goal at the 16, Sarah Rankhorn makes a huge play in the end zone as she breaks up a pass, and it will be 2nd and goal at the 16 with 14 seconds left. But we are going to go ahead and take it to halftime. Milligan leads William Woods with a score of 14-6. Let's go ahead and take it to the second half. It'll be William Woods' ball, and they would actually end up going 3 and out here with Tatiana Buno getting a sack to help force that punt. Milligan gets it past midfield on the punt, and a short pass right goes to Jaleese Padilla. And then a pass over the middle to Caitlin Quinn is just short of the first, so it will be 2nd and 1. A deep ball is incomplete, but pass interference there makes it 1st and goal at the 11. On first down, Bridget Kaiser gives Milligan their 2-score lead back as she finds Ashton Weirley for the touchdown. And Actually, Milligan is going to go for 2 points here to try and go up 22-6, and that puts William Woods back against the wall if they can complete it here as Bridget Kaiser takes the snap, and she finds Caitlin Quinn, who hauls in the 2-point conversion, and it is now 22-6. Definitely got to shout out head coach Ryan Witten for the heads-up play there to try and go for 2 points to make this a near insurmountable lead at this point in the game. It is now 1st and 6 for William Woods, and they go 3 and out. So it'll make it 1st and 1 for Milligan after the punt. A short crosser goes to Sam Urso, who flips it to Krista Quinn for a first down to make it 1st and 7. On 1st and 7, Kaiser finds Sam Urso again, and she flips it back to Caitlin Quinn, this time for another first down across midfield. On 1st and 18, a deep pass for Ashton Weirley is nearly perfect, but it's just out of reach. And then we have another incomplete pass that is overthrown to make it 3rd and 18. On 3rd and 18, Bridget Kaiser hurls it over the head of Sarah Rancorn into the hands of Giselle Sortero, and William Woods is still alive, believe it or not. It is now 1st and 10 here for the Owls. A check down to Addie Chillette goes for a first down, and then following a drop pass on 2nd and 20, a check down to Sam Menard, who spins out of 2 flagpoles into a hold on Milligan to make it 1st and 3. On 1st down, Hicks goes to Emma Anderlich for a first down in the red zone. On 1st and goal at the 16, we got 2 incompletions to make it 3rd and goal at the 16 as Mackenzie Hicks takes the snap. She surveys, she fakes right, and floats it to Olivia Perkins in stride for the touchdown. The score is now 21-12, and William Woods has to go for 2 here to stay in this game. And Mackenzie Hicks goes deep, and that is way out of bounds. The score is now 22-12 as Milligan holds a 10-point lead here. It is now 1st and 6 for the Buffaloes. Bridget Kaiser looks left and has Jaleese Padilla for a first down. And on 1st and 14, Bridget Kaiser's pass somehow finds Ashton Weirley for a huge gain to make it 2nd and 1. On 2nd and 1, Kaiser scrambles right and she pitches it to Sarah Rancorn for a big-time first down to make it 1st and 10. On 1st and 10, Sarah Rancorn says Jesus as she fully extends for a first down grab to put Milligan in the red zone once again. On 1st and 18, Kaiser avoids a sack and flicks it to Sarah Rancorn, and Rancorn does the rest of the work as she gets out of a flagpole and walks into the end zone for a back-breaking touchdown. The extra point was overthrown, so the score is now 28-12. And that, folks, is going to be your final score in this one as Milligan secures the 2025 Silver Bracket Championship with a 28-12 win over William Woods. Your playmaker of the game is going to go to Bridget Kaiser. She had a fantastic game and even came back from injury to help Milligan get this win in the Silver Bracket Championship. And like I said before, these are 2 squads that have a ton of young talent, so they are going to be back and better than ever next year. Expect them to be threatening for that gold bracket once again next year as these players get another year of experience under their belt. This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast signing off here in the final week of the 2025 NAIA flag football season. Thank you all for listening. Peace out.
This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast, here with Bridget Kaiser, QB MVP of the Silver Bracket Championship game. Bridget, last year you guys were here in the same spot, different result. How does it feel for you and your team to come out on top here?
It's amazing. There's not even words to describe it. This team has worked so hard at every single one of us. It's all us. It's all us.
That's amazing. And Bridget, you seemed to get banged up a little bit in the second quarter.
Yeah.
You came back super strong, though, led the team to a massive 28-12 victory. What was your mindset going back into the game or going out of the game? How were you coming back into that game and leading this team?
Well, my arm really hurt, but going into the second half, I had to tell myself there's 24 minutes left. I just have to give this team 24 minutes of my best fight.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, Bridget, congratulations on a great season and for the MVP.
Thank you.
And we look forward to covering you next season.
Thank you.
As I say, hold that thing up. Yes, sir.
Now, this next recap is going to be pretty quick here. It was Florida Gateway versus Daytona in the NJCAA Championship here. Just to go over some of the other scores as far as pool play goes, on Monday, Florida Gateway beat Pratt 82-6. Daytona beat Bryant and Stratton College 33-19. On Tuesday, Daytona beat Heston 27-6. Bryant and Stratton beat Pratt 22-7, and Florida Gateway beat Heston 56-0. In bracket play, you had Florida Gateway as the number 1 seed and Daytona State as the number 2 seed. Brighton and Stratton as the 3 seed, and then Heston and Pratt as the 4 and 5 seed. So Heston and Pratt would play a play-in game where Pratt would repeat their Kansas NJCAA championship result, but would win 31-0. Florida Gateway would then beat Pratt 67-0. Daytona State would beat Bryant and Stratton 21-0 to set the stage for the two teams that had not played yet. Daytona would start, but a deep shot would be broken up by Addie Hood as Florida Gateway would show their insane athleticism very quickly and their dominance here very early, as they would force an interception that lands in the hands of Tramisha Harris early on. It's returned just inside the 30-yard line, and after a few incompletions here, it is 4th and 9, but there's going to be a route to Tramisha Harris that is thrown by Kayla Ludwig here, former Warner QB, and she races up the sideline for the score, and then the arrow route to London Jenkins is caught, putting them up 7-0. It would be Daytona State that would set up 3rd and 2 and eventually get a first down, but it's going to be a pick 6 by London Jenkins, who also catches the PAT to go up 14-0 early. Florida Gateway would force a punt here, and Ludwig would find number 11, who's Angelina Harrell, for a first down. With 1:40 in the first here, they do a double pass, once again with Tramisha Harris being on the receiving end of the pass, who gets to the 21-yard line. Ludwig would then flood right and find number 14, Michaela Brown, for the score, as well as the PAT, putting him up 21-0. And it would just kind of run away for them as Tramisha Harris would get a touchdown and PAT. Then it would be a head top catch by Alexandra Harris for a touchdown. And then London Jenkins would get 2 more pick 6s before the half here. Ultimately, Florida Gateway runs away with this. Daytona scores a couple of touchdowns late to not get shut out, but Florida Gateway wins the NJCAA championship for their three-peat 68-13. And we also got an interview with Team USA prospect London Jenkins afterwards.
Cody Stoffer here, Playmaker's Corner with London Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
Just secured another national championship. This is the three-peat for Florida Gateway. What do you think that this program does so well, and what about this culture makes it so dominant?
I just think my coach, he recruits great athletes, great players. We play together, we work hard, and we just came out here and showed what we had to prove.
Absolutely. Just kind of rolled, and I mean, your game was fantastic today. In the first half, a hat trick of pick 6s, just unbelievable dominance. What is your secret to being such a successful athlete in this game? What were you seeing, and just in general?
Just training a lot, working hard. I just put in a lot of effort into the game, and it just paid off.
Absolutely. And you are heavily invested. Obviously, Team USA is on the map here, and you're on that roster right now. What kind of translates from 5s to here, and how does that kind of loop of just constant flag football make you a better football player?
Just playing year round makes you a better player. So I feel as if playing 7s and 5s, it just makes you a better player when you go to play Team USA.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations once again on the national championship. Flex the ring to the viewers, and you have a good one.
3T, let's go!
And finally, the moment you all have been waiting for, what we've been building up towards, Kaiser and Ottawa, a rematch for the 3rd time in this young sports 5-year history, at least on the NAIA level here. Let's get to it. So, to start the game, it's going to be Ottawa, and they get a quick pass right to Dos Santos to the 19-yard line. They go right back to Dos Santos again for a first down to the 28, and Dos Santos again right to the 36. Sound familiar? Listen to the STU recap if it isn't. Anyways, they dial up a deep shot left that is incomplete. That's going to be number 17, Hannah Jays, on the coverage there. And on 3rd and 4, they pass it right to Camacho, who picks up a first down past midfield. Dos Santos, once again getting her number called, catches a pass in the middle of the field to the 31 of Kaiser. And then pass left to Camacho, who catches the ball and is forced out of bounds by Cavalotti, setting up 3rd and 4. However, Carrera scrambles right for a first down to the 15, and Ottawa is now in the red zone. It's going to be a pass right that is caught by Jada Barron here, and the flag is pulled once again by Hannah Jays at the 9-yard line. However, they go right back to Jada Barron, who scores on this play, and then Spielberg gets the PAT reception, and Ottawa wins 7-0. Kaiser trying to respond here, gets Sophia Caprio involved over the middle to the 19, and then they're going to pass it right, and that's caught by Chloe Griffin to the 27-yard line. Janasia Wilson on the check down gets to the 34, and on 2nd and 6, there's going to be an awesome flagpole here by Sanaya Glover, who, makes this flagpole in space to set up 3rd and 3. There's going to be a pass left to Foster for a first down to the 39 of Ottawa. Janasia Wilson responds by making a jumping catch and sprints ahead to the 23-yard line. Ashley Clam is in motion from right to left and catches a pass in the flats for a first down into the red zone. Kaiser comes out in an empty set, and a false start pushes them just back outside the red zone, but they get Janasia Wilson involved, and her catch and run puts them back ahead slightly. Young rolls left and throws to Riho inside of the 10-yard line. There's going to be a penalty in Ottawa, and then Young is going to find Clam here for the score, but on the PAT, DJ Paris is going to make a massive flag pull at the end of the quarter to keep that Ottawa lead 7-6. Ottawa is going to start the second quarter on their own 14-yard line, and a Carrera lateral doesn't land, and Ottawa will face second down, but Dos Santos is targeted right for a short gain, setting up 3rd and 2. Dos Santos is passed again right for a first down, once again making me reminiscent of what STU was doing just yesterday against Kaiser. Osborne gets the ball, and her flag is pulled on the next play by Samaya Bryant. There's then going to be a pass to Barron here, who is pulled by Kennedy Foster. A pass right to Spielberg brings up 4th and 1 to midfield. Ottawa is going to go for it, and the pass right to Dos Santos is lateraled left to Linkus, who tips it ahead to Jada Barron, who sprints ahead and is narrowly stopped in the red zone here. Now, while Gino's phone was catching fire here, we end up switching off, so I am stealing the rest of his notes for this game here. And Ottawa is going to be facing 1st and 8 here. Carrera is going to hit Linkus, but Chloe Griffin is going to get a stop at the 1-yard line. 2nd and goal on the 1. Madison Carrera is going to sneak it up the middle to put Ottawa up 13-6, but Cavalotti is going to pick off the extra point and keep that lead to just 13-6. Now Kaiser's going to come off with a pass to Wilson for 5 yards, setting up 2nd and 1. But after a drop, it is 3rd and 1. Makes him a little nervous, but Sophia Caprio hangs in there and gets a first down, setting up 1st and 16. A quick pass and then an incompletion sets up 3rd and 13 here, but a check down to Janasia Wilson is stopped right away at the line of scrimmage by Sue Kaufman to force a punt. Ottawa gets the ball with the 2-minute warning here, and they start off with an incompletion targeting Dos Santos deep once again. They then pass it right to Dos Santos, and she sets up 3rd and 12. Carrera keeps it right and gains 6 yards, and that sets up 4th and 6, and Kaiser will use a timeout and trade one with Ottawa, who tries to get Kaiser to jump before calling a punt. Now, it's going to be 1st and 3 in their own territory with a minute left for Kaiser, but these are the moments or the minutes that they live for here. As Chloe Griffin gets the first pass, and she gets out of bounds, setting up 1st and 11. Young is going to find Janasia Wilson, who pitches it back to Sophia Caprio, who puts Kaiser near midfield with 2nd and 3 and takes a timeout. Young takes a shot downfield into the fully extended arms of Ashley Clam for a first down and goal at the 9-yard line. They hurry up to the line and try a pass to Clam that is incomplete, and that sets up 2nd and 9 with 12 seconds left. But Young is going to take the snap, and she has Chloe Griffin on the slant for the touchdown. It is 13-12 with a few seconds left. But on the PAT, Maya Quinn is going to get the interception, ripping the ball out of Kennedy Foster's hands to take us into halftime with an Ottawa lead. Now, Kaiser does get to start off the second half, only down by a point, and Caprio is going to not be able to reel this one in. And so it is 2nd and 6, but Jukani Washington is targeted on the next play, and she tips the pass and picks it off herself, putting Ottawa in the red zone here. It is 1st and 17. The check down to Addie Osborne sets up 2nd and 7 here. There is a collision with Kennedy Foster and Alyssa Linkus here, and those two players would be a little slow to get up here. Kennedy Foster dealing with some serious fatigue in this game. Carrera will take the very next play roll right, and flip it to Osborne, who sprints ahead for the touchdown, evading flagpoles. And then Alyssa Linkus will get the next target and catch, putting Ottawa up 20-12. On 1st and 6 for Kaiser here, Young is going to drop back, throw over the middle, and it's picked off by Cynthia Holmes here on the first pass of the drive and puts Ottawa in the red zone. And with 1st and goal at the 12, Ottawa is trying to go up 2 scores here, and they start off with a pass to Jaslyn Camacho, who gets to the 2-yard line. Madison Carrera is going to get the snap, look left, and fire one to Tatiana Dos Santos, who muscles it in for 6. And after the Carrera keeper, it is now 27-12 Ottawa. Kaiser here now trying to just claw back into this game a little bit, not let it get out of control. Finds Ashley Clam on 2nd down in stride for a 1st down over the middle and sets up 1st and 10 to midfield. Young throws right to Kennedy Foster and sets up 2nd and 4, and then Caprio sets up 3rd and 2. There's a swing pass that is overthrown that sets up 4th and 2, and so it is 4th down to midfield, and Young fires it over the middle of the field, but it's over the head of Kennedy Foster and tipped into the arms of Jucani Washington for her 2nd pick of the game here. Now it is going to be Ottawa with a couple of incompletions here before finally Carrera finds Bayron to set up 4th and 13. They try and get to Dos Santos, but it's incomplete, and the Kaiser defense buckles down and forces a turnover on downs. Now, it's going to be Finetti in the shotgun for Kaiser here, and she finds Caprio for a 1st down across midfield for 1st and 19. The very next pass is nearly picked off by Maya Quinn here, setting up 2nd and 19, but Finetti bounces back, immediately hitting Clam, and Clam tries to pitch the ball, but it hits the turf. That sets up 3rd and 17. Young takes a pass from Finetti and hits Kennedy Foster for a diving grab to put the Seahawks near the red zone and giving them 4th and 2 to start the 4th quarter. On 4th and 2, Young rolls left and checks it down to Janasia Wilson, who makes some defenders miss and takes it all the way into the end zone to make it 27-18. Kaiser goes for 2 here. That's their only chance here. I mean, they could go for 1 and go for 2 later, but they're going to go for 2 now. And the pass to Kennedy Foster is broken up, but pass interference on Ottawa gives Kaiser another chance much closer here. And it's going to be Ashley Clam who head tops Talia McInnes for the huge extra point, making it a 1-score game. Ottawa with the ball could ice this game with this drive here. And they're going to start off with the same dose of a pass to Santos, Dos Santos even, for 4 yards, setting up 2nd and 2. Carrera's going to roll right and hit Jaslyn Camacho along the sideline for a 1st down, setting up 1st and 19. Osborne then takes the check down for a few yards before being stopped by Samaya Bryant, setting up 2nd and 16. Cavallati shows off her expert flag pulling skills as she shuts down another Osborne check down to keep it to 3rd and 12. However, this Ottawa team, ever so posed and led by Carrera, rolls right and gets a huge 1st down pass to Alyssa Linkus past midfield for 1st and 19. Wagaman is right there for a sack, but Carrera checks it down for just a yard on 2nd and 17, and then there's an incompletion. Another check down sets up 3rd and 17 with 7 minutes and 15 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Kaiser has to get a stop here. Carrera surveys, but then she ends up keeping it and running ahead for 1st and goal to the 19-yard line. And after a Kaiser flag, Ottawa's going to be inside the 10-yard line, and Carrera's going to roll right and just pitch it ahead to Addie Osborne, who walks in for the touchdown, making it 33-20. And after a Jaslyn Camacho PAT catch, it is 34-20. Now, this Kaiser drive, they're kind of down by too much, and they do get some big 1st downs, like one on 4th and 4, where Haley Young finds Kennedy Foster for a 1st down across midfield. However, once they are inside the red zone here, Young is going to throw it up for Ashley Clam, but Maya Quinn makes the game-sealing interception, and your 5-time national champion Ottawa Braves secures the win, 34-20, becoming 3-0 against Kaiser in national championship games. And I know that there's been controversy, there's been this, that, and the other, but you can't take it away from these players or these coaches, in my opinion. The Sauer sisters have shown time and time again that they know how to prepare very, very well. They told us the secret formula to their success, but I think that nobody words it quite as well as somebody who isn't getting the most targets throughout the season, but showed up in the biggest game of the season. That is Tatiana Dos Santos, the talented junior receiver from Panama City, Panama. And I'm just going to let her take it away after once again saying congratulations to Ottawa.
Kodey Stoffer, Playmaker's Corner, here with recently crowned champ Tatiana Dos Santos.
Thank you very
I
much.
mean, do you get sick of it at some point? 5 in a row.
It's crazy. I mean, this is my third one, and it's a roller coaster of emotions, really. It's never easy, for sure, never easy. We put it all into it, every practice, every meeting, everything, in every game, we put it all. So it's who wants it more, and we do. So at the end of the day, it's never easy.
I mean, it's not easy to also stay locked in. I mean, on an offense with so many weapons, I mean, Lissa Linkus, Marley Spielberg, Carrera doing her thing, Orsborn. I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed, Camacho, but you came out and, I mean, you got 4 receptions immediately on that first drive of 10 plays to help put your team in a scoring position, eventually got your score later. How do you stay engaged even when the targets have to be spread out with so many weapons?
Of course, it's hard sometimes to, let's say, some people might feel like, because they're not getting the ball, they're not important, they're not doing anything, and it's not that. You're there because of a reason. Every person that is on the field, off the field, is there for a reason, and you have a job. If it's cheer, you're going to cheer. If it's run, you're going to run. If it's throwing the ball, you're going to throw. If it's block, every position has a place and a reason. So my reason and my way to staying there, even if I don't get the ball, is I knowing I'm doing the job. If I'm running and go, I know that I'm clearing out that space for another route to come in. And it's just part of understanding the reason behind the play and why you're there, not just complain and be selfish about not getting the ball, not getting enough touchdowns or anything like that, and everyone else is. It is, because at the end, we all Ottawa, and we all going to win at the end. So it's like, just do your part and understand.
Do your part, get fit for the ring.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Well,
for sure, and stay there. Trust that we got each other. Trust that your moment will come, because your name will be called. And you just got to be prepared for it. And if you're not prepared, then that's on you.
Well, you stay prepared and came out with the big dub. So huge congratulations. Thanks so much for giving us some time, and looking forward to more flag football action in your future.
Of course. Stay tuned. Thank you.
And kudos to the Sauer sisters and kudos to Dos Santos. That was one of my favorite interviews of the weekend, and I think it was Gino's as well. And that is something that I hope I can get my players to do, is realize the opportunities that they open up for their teammates and just be selfless at the end of the day. And that is a huge proponent on why Ottawa, once again, finds themselves at the top as your 2025 national champs. Now, this year, there was not an all-tournament team from the tournament hosters, so we decided to do one ourselves here at PMC. So we have 4 defensive back spots, 2 linebacker spots, and 2 rusher spots. And then for offense, we have quarterback, 2 utility, 4 receivers, and 1 athlete here that we thought was just necessary based off of the crazy play. So our defensive team here, one of the defensive backs had to be Caitlin Sigmundi here. 4 interceptions in one game against University of St. Mary's, big interceptions against Weber, and also notched some interceptions in that loss to Thomas. Overall, I believe ended with 6 interceptions over just a few games. Just an awesome week for Caitlin Sigmundi, one who's been getting it done. Another defensive back for our PMC All-Tournament team is Tashumba Washington, somebody who had some big-time interceptions, pass breakups, and just flag pulls throughout the weekend. Also took on a higher role as a receiver this week, but honestly, it's her defensive back play and her one-on-one matchups that has always deterred teams and been an anchor for this STU defense. We also have defensive back Angel Roman, whose pick 6 kept K-Dub's hopes alive against Midland and ultimately helped them birth a seed in the gold bracket for the first time in program history, where they almost pulled off the upset against Ottawa. She's been getting it done on both sides of the ball and is an absolute legend in my book. The final defensive back spot had to go to the national championship MVP, which was Jukani Washington. Multiple interceptions and also had big pass breakups just throughout the week and definitely earned a spot on this list. Our 2 linebackers are 2 mainstays of linebacker talks and award talks here on the podcast. For the PMC All-Tournament team, we got Janae Scott of Thomas and Anna Pat Vincenzini of Warner here, both who made big flag pulls, pass breakups. Vincenzini with a game-ending interception as well during her game against STU. I mean, both of these athletes were just flying all over the field and are some of the best in the business. And finally, for rusher here, Caitlin Herb definitely had to be on here. She had one of her best weeks of flag football to date. Multiple pass breakups, multiple sacks, multiple headaches for opposing offenses. And then our other rusher is silver bracket champion Tatiana Buono here in her first season here as a freshman. Once again, just being a absolute ball player here. Got a pick 6 in the very first game of the week against Weber. Also got a pass breakup on Madison Carrera, which is no easy task. Just an imposing force on the rush and somebody who's only going to get so much better, which is constant pressure, pass breakups, and sacks throughout this week. Now for our all-tournament offense here with quarterback, you have to go with Madison Carrera. She is the tournament MVP in our eyes and just somebody who is just absolutely clinical and dialed in during this week. And even if she makes mistakes, she bounces back and helps lead this team to a national championship. Someone else for one of our utility spots, Addie Osborne, had to be here. Team USA, absolute beast, and somebody who, once again, as we talked about in her interview, could double back and listen to that. You never know when your number is going to be called, but anytime hers was called, she stepped up and she had touchdowns in overtimes and she had touchdowns in the national championship. Not sure what more you could ask of Addie Osborne. Our other utility player had to be Janasia Wilson, one of the most electric freshmen in the country. She had, multiple 30-plus yard plays. She was just, she probably was amongst the leaders, if not the leader in receptions from this past weekend, or for this past week, I should say, for this national tournament. So Janasia Wilson of Kaiser does get that other utility spot. Now we got 4 receivers here. The first one is going to be Kaylee Phillips for Baker. Now, obviously, she is a bit of a utility player in the fact that she can get handoffs and throw or be a running back, but it was her receiver work that really caught our eye as she was getting big first downs, and just her flag evasion skills are some of the best. She formerly went to Heston, and she was a huge reason why that program was very, very successful, and she showed what she could do on a contending team here in Baker on the NAIA level this year. Another receiver that we have here is Zoe Jackson. You heard her name again and again for the Thomas Nighthawks here, and she was on the brunt of one of the tougher calls of this entire tournament, but that did not stop her from just setting ablaze opposing defenses as she notched multiple touchdowns, big end zone trips, red zone threat, and just toe-tapping skilled athletic catches amongst receivers. Another receiver here is Sarah Rankhorn. She is a huge proponent of this Milligan team who brought home the Silver Bracket Championship. She was making huge plays anytime we tuned in, and she had a nice national championship to cap it all off. Our other receiver here and our last receiver spot is going to go to Kennedy Foster here. She had multiple touchdowns, PATs, and just showed how much of a value a red zone threat is, especially with so many red zone stops occurring in this tournament. When you have somebody who's as reliable as Kennedy Foster, who is a legend in my eyes, that helps you make this all-tournament team. And finally, for our athlete spot, had to give it to Sanaya Waller here of Baker. To step up the way that she did and take over the quarterback position and lead an upset as the 7 seed over the 2 seed is nothing short of special and historic. It was so exciting to watch her play live. And then obviously when she's running with the ball in her hands, she is one of the most dangerous athletes in the country. So overall, that 2025 PMC all-tournament team from Nationals of NAIA is at quarterback Madison Carrera, utilities of Addie Osborne of Ottawa and Janasia Wilson of Kaiser. Wide receivers, you got Kaylee Phillips of Baker, Zoe Jackson of Thomas, Sarah Rankhorn of Milligan, and Kennedy Foster of Kaiser, and an athlete of Sanaya Waller from Baker. Defensively, our team has defensive backs Caitlin Sigmundi of Weber, Deshumba Washington of St. Thomas, Angel Roman of Kansas Wesleyan, Jukani Washington of Ottawa. Our linebackers are Janae Scott of Thomas and Anna Pat Vincenzini of Warner. Our rushers are Kaylin Herb of Thomas and Tatiana Buono of Milligan. Thank you all so much for a fun season. And until next year, thank you, where we will hopefully see the NAIA run an invitational or championships for the next season of women's flag football. And that will do it for this episode of Playmakers Corner. Be sure to tune into our socials at Playmakers Corner on Instagram, Playmakers Corner on Facebook, at Playmaker Corner on Twitter /X. And be sure to listen to all of our episodes that release to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, as well as on YouTube. Make sure that you have notifications turned on as we transition into our off season here, where we're going to be talking about Colorado high school flag football talent and previews for programs. We also will be taking a look at tackle prospects as well and continuing to cover women's college flag football at a high level. We are changing the way that we do awards to honor the pioneers of the game next season, and we are very excited to continue to enhance our coverage and help y'all know what Colorado prospects are going to make noise on the next level. I have been your host for this episode, accompanied by Gino, as well as Coach V from behind the scenes. Shout out Coach V on this episode for securing a historic win for his track and field team. I wonder if he's going to hear this at the very end, but his boys and girls track and field team won the championships for the first time in their school's 100-year history. And if that is not a legacy that Coach V should be known and remembered for, I'm not sure what is. So huge shout out to my guy who really held down college flag football for the majority of the season. And next year, we're going to get him out there somehow, some way. But thank you all, our listeners who've been so supportive. Thank you to all the teams and athletes who've been so appreciative of the work that we do. And we're just trying to cover your story the best we can. Signing off for the last time. Peace.